There we go. No bad cop hat tonight. I saw somebody put that in there. It's just me. In the dark green hoodie. I see you guys making the guesses every time. What you could do is look back several episodes and see what's been missing for a while. What has he not worn lately? And then you'll probably figure out where it is. Guys, welcome in. Not going to be a long show tonight. I don't usually go on Thursday nights. I can't remember a time I went on a Thursday night, frankly. I usually have something to do with my kids on a Thursday night. I actually skipped it tonight in order to do this. So don't come at me and act like I'm not committed to this cause. I am. And this is what I think is a pretty important show. I think it's a very important show. And so not going to be as dark and somber as last night. I'm still looking into all that stuff. I've gotten a tremendous number of tips via email after last night's show. And so I will, I'm going to get right into it tonight. I want to make sure that we get through all of this. And then I want to make sure that, and that we're all off to bed. Or someone from Australia was chiming in earlier saying it's like 10 in the morning over there. I want to make sure you can get your day started. You probably got things to do. All right, let me jump right into the opening statement. Right into the opening statement, and then I will get to the subject of the emergency broadcast. But I think this opening statement, although brief, I didn't spend a long time writing it today because, well, I wasn't intending to give one. But I did plow one together because it kind of sets up what it is that I have questions about. And we are going to look through a bunch of evidence tonight. This is kind of like something I would have wanted to do with my research group. Remember, I was going to do a research group. And then I was advised, don't do that because you'll give the game away and everyone will know what you're working on all the time. So I didn't do the research group. So this Thursday night group, this is a family chat, guys. This is family. We'll go through some of this stuff and we'll figure this stuff out together. All right, let's go through it. The last minute twist that reframes everything is one of the most reliable pleasures in storytelling, particularly modern storytelling. It's the moment that the audience, and often the primary character within the story, realize they've been looking at the crime scene through the wrong lens. The gunshot wound was not the fatal injury. The poison was a red herring. The body was moved after death. Or the apparent suicide was staged over a murder that happened hours before, or by a completely different mechanism. The audience gasps because the story has respected its own logic while secretly withholding one crucial fact. When it's well done, the revelation does not feel like a cheat. It feels like the only possible solution they somehow missed. And this device has a long pedigree. For example, in Agatha Christie's 1926 novel, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, the entire novel is narrated by a village doctor who seems to be helping the main character solve the crime. Only in the final pages do we learn that the narrator doctor is the murderer and has been lying to us and the main character the entire time. The cause of death itself, a stab wound, never changes. But the identity of the killer rewrites every preceding conversation. Agatha Christie did not invent the unreliable narrator, but she weaponized it. She weaponized it so effectively that the book was accused of breaking the implicit contract between the mystery writer and the reader. The real plot twist was not just a whodunit, but how the entire story was told. And Hollywood learned this lesson quickly. In the 1930s and 1940s, the whodunit was a staple of the B picture. But the real masters of reframing twist were the film noir directors who understood that misdirection could be visual as well as narrative. Consider Anatoly Litvak's 1948 picture, Sorry, Wrong Number. Barbara Stanwyck plays a bedridden heiress who overhears a murder plot on a crossed telephone line. The film builds relentless suspense around the idea that she is the intended victim and that the killers are closing in on her apartment. Only in the final minutes do we discover that the murder has already happened. Her husband arranged for her to be killed, but earlier in the evening. The phone call she overheard was meant to establish his alibi. The cause of death is not the impending home invasion we feared. It's the quiet, off-screen act that has already taken place. The audience's terror is retroactively transferred from future to past. The device became more ambitious in the 1990s. Writers began to treat the twist as the entire plot of the movie, rather than just a late flourish. Consider the 1995 film The Usual Suspects as the modern template. We watch Verbal Kent weave an elaborate story about a mysterious crime lord named Kaiser Soze. Every flashback is presented as fact. When the final montage reveals that Verbal has invented nearly every detail, pulling names from a bulletin board at the detective's office, the film does not merely reveal the killer's identity. It reveals that the entire movie we just watched was a lie. The cause of the massacre on the boat is still the same. It's a single bullet from Kaiser Soze. But the narrative scaffolding collapses, forcing us to re-edit the entire film in our heads. 2014 took the idea even further with Gone Girl, and again in 2016 with The Girl on a Train. In both, the apparent cause of death or disappearance is overturned halfway through, but the deeper twist is that the genre itself flips. Gone Girl begins as a standard missing wife thriller and becomes a black comedy about marital manipulation. And we learn that the wife staged her own disappearance and framed her husband. The blood in the kitchen is real, but it is her own, drawn deliberately. The presumed murder becomes a performance. The audience's moral alignment is yanked away. We spend an hour fearing for the wife, only to discover we should have been fearing her, the wife. What makes these reversals work is a combination of three things. One, forensic plausibility. Two, narrative withholding rather than outright lying. And three, emotional stakes that survive the flip. The best writers plant the correct clues in plain sight, but encourage us to misinterpret them. The danger, of course, is overfamiliarity. After The Sixth Sense, after Fight Club, after The Usual Suspects, audiences began watching every thriller waiting for the rug pull. Some films like The Village or The Book of Eli suffered because the twist became the only reason to watch. The smartest contemporary writers therefore layer multiple explanations so that even if you guess one twist, another one awaits underneath. Ultimately, the wrong cause of death twist is less about forensic surprise than about humility. It reminds us, the audience, that we see what we are primed to see. A bullet wound looks like the murder until you learn the victim died of something else. A hanging looks like a suicide until you notice the ligature mark is too high and the stool must have been kicked away by someone else. The body does not lie, but the story we tell about the body almost always does. Until, in the best thrillers, near the final chapters, they force us to tell a different story entirely. And when that happens, the pleasure is not just in being fooled. It is in realizing how elegantly we were invited to fool ourselves. With that in mind, I want to raise an obvious question related to the Charlie Kirk investigation. Have the narrators been withholding a key fact? Let's walk through some images and take a look with fresh eyes. You may learn by now, you might have figured out by now, today could be fun. Today could end up being fun, but today also, also might end up being hard to swallow in some respect. So I want to start the way, let me see the best way to start this. I think I want to start this way. I'm going to pull up a video that gives us some narrative about what we're looking at, because we're going to look at a lot of pictures tonight. You guys may have seen this video. This is about a 10-minute long video. The shot occurs right at the 10-minute and 15-second mark, so only about 1 second of blood and gore in this. And I'll go back to the beginning. I'm going to hit mute so you guys don't hear all the background noise. I'll turn the sound back on towards the end. If you go back to the beginning, what we're just watching here is Charlie Kirk just, getting ready. The first guy is questioned. This is Henry Dell right here in the middle of the screen. You'll notice that and I want to point this out here. See the guy manning the microphone? Can we zoom in on him? Or is the screen not going to let us do that? We may not be able to do that. Let me see if I can bring it in and then zoom in on him. No, oh, there we go. See that guy right there in the red shirt manning the microphone? He was not a UVU student. He was not in the UVU TPUSA chapter. I think his name was Cooper something. He was manning the microphone. And I remember very early on, Candace made a deal about that. She said, well, this is weird. You have a non-student manning the microphone. And it turns out he worked, I think, for the Leadership Institute or something, which is, it's one of these groups that trains people to go out and work in public interest groups, right-wing public interest groups. The Heritage Foundation, TPUSA, and others. He was the guy manning the microphone. And you'll see, if you watch this whole video, he is obsessive about making sure the people don't touch the microphone. I'll give you an example right here. Henry Dell looks like he's going to readjust the microphone. This guy steps in and says, don't touch the microphone. I got it. And then he moves the microphone. This is a recurring theme in this 10 minutes and 15 seconds because Charlie Kirk will be dead at the 10-minute and 15-second mark of this. But you'll see what's happening here. And I'll just flip around a little bit. Charlie Kirk holding his microphone. He's answering questions. This guy's Henry Dell here in the middle. He's the one pumping his fist, looking around at the crowd. He's asking the first set of questions. I think if I recall, his questions were about the Mormon faith and how it related to Christianity and Charlie's relationship with it. To give you an idea of some of the background characters, here on the far left, now out of screen, now back in screen, the guy in the short sleeve black shirt here standing up behind Charlie to Charlie's, 4 o'clock? That's Dan Flood. He's the guy that gives the arm signal. Over here on the other side of the screen, of course, texting in the white shirt and backpack, that's Mikey McCoy. That guy right there, let me pause that in case they move it again. See the guy looking down at his phone on the far right in the tan shirt? That's the chief of audio video or whatever he is. He's a contractor, but he is like the head guy for audio video from TPUSA. That's the guy, Terrell Farnsworth, who, he's dead, takes the video. I always wondered how Terrell Farnsworth was so confident Charlie Kirk had died. Because he saw almost as much as Mikey McCoy saw and Blake Neff. Saw something, boom, looked up and ran off. But then he immediately grabs a phone, starts taking selfies and saying that Charlie's dead. Tonight might give us a clue why Terrell Farnsworth knew so intimately the details. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. This is Baron Coleman. I break every rule. I'm supposed to announce my name. I'm supposed to invite you to subscribe, like, share. What else? Click the notification button. I'm supposed to tell you the name of the show. This is a Real Baron podcast. I am Baron Coleman. I'm supposed to give you my schedule. I'm here 3 or 4, sometimes 5 nights a week. Guys, sorry. Thank you, commenters, for taking care of it. All right, let me get back to the meat because I don't want to be here all night. So you'll see what happens is Charlie asks, the audience asks a question. Henry Dell down here in the lower right, he'll ask a question. It flips back to Charlie. He picks up his microphone and he answers the question. And then watch what he does in between questions. So he answers the question. He talk. He puts the microphone down. So sometimes he puts the microphone down on the table and sometimes he holds the microphone with 1 or 2 hands in his lap. It's a key fact. We're going to come back to this. The key fact. And if I had the volume on right now, what you would notice is the microphone's on the table and there is no feedback. And that's a key fact as well. We'll learn here in just a little bit. You'll also notice, and you can barely see him off to the right. I pointed out who Terrell Farnsworth is. There's a guy down here on his knees. Let me see if I can find an image where he is more visible. See the guy in the white hat that says 1776 standing right next to Terrell Farnsworth? Can I zoom that in? Yeah. That guy right there in the 1776, the white hat with the dark brim. See that? He, the entire time, just about the entire time Charlie Kirk is talking, from the moment he went on stage until the second he passed away, just about, I'd say 95+% of the time, this guy is messing with the sound controls down to Charlie Kirk's left, right at his 9 o'clock? He's down there messing with the sound controls. And this guy, Terrell Farnsworth, his boss, is hawking him, standing right over him, hawking him. I don't know the guy's name in the 1776 shirt. So let's fast forward a little bit, and let's just get an idea of how this pattern works. Charlie answers a question. Henry Dell asks a question. Charlie answers a question. And watch what he does with the microphone. Sometimes he puts it on the table. Sometimes he holds it. See how he's holding the microphone there? He didn't put it down. He drops it in between his lap. So if you were going to try to time this, what you would do is you would wait for Charlie Kirk to finish answering a question, and if you wanted to time it just as he dropped the microphone and before he put it on the table if he was going to, you would need some way to send out a timing mechanism that we've got about 1 second or less left. And it's going to be important. I promise you this is going to be important. I'm raising issues. I don't want anyone to think for a second I'm stating with definitive reality anything tonight. What I am doing is I've gotten a lot of emails on this issue. I looked into it and I thought, holy mackerel, that's pretty compelling. And so I want to raise the issue. I haven't seen really anyone else talking about it. So I want to raise the issue and I want to hear from you guys, and I'll go through and I'll read some comments. I want to hear from you guys what you think. But let me go through and play some stuff. So let me fast forward now that you kind of got a thing. Notice as I skip around and I skip forward. Okay, I'm back here at the 0 minute mark. I've got 1776 hat leaning over, messing with the controls, right? Let me just skip through. 39 second, leaning over, messing with the controls. Minute 24, nowhere to be found. 212, leaning over, messing with the controls. Well, there I can't see him. 309, leaning over, messing with the controls. These are the sound controls. Now he's standing up talking to his boss right next to the sound controls. Now he's leaning over, messing with the sound controls at 402. Leaning over, messing with the sound controls at 433. Leaning over, messing with the sound controls at 448. 543, what do you think he's doing? 610, leaning over, messing with the sound controls. 647, leaning over, messing with the sound controls. 720, leaning over, messing with the sound controls. 754, leaning over, messing with the sound controls. 813, leaning over, messing with the sound controls. 840, leaning over, messing with the sound controls. And now I'm going to bring in the audio, and if it's too loud or too soft, you guys tell me. I'm going to bring in the audio because I want you to hear what happens. This is very curious. Very, very curious. I'm going to bring in the audio, and I want you to hear what happens. And if we have to replay it, we will. I'm going to bring it in at what I think is a reasonable volume that doesn't blow me out in my ears. You guys tell me if it's too loud or too quiet. We can talk about Dan texting in a second, but I want you to focus on the sound guy right now, and I want you to focus on what we hear as Henry Dell wraps up. Henry Dell's about to finish up here. I think at the 8 minute and 48 second mark he finishes.
Jewish scholar, not a Christian. Right, that's the point, is that the audience I've done want you to run. God bless you, I love Mormons. Thank you so much.
All right, we got a 5x, so we're good here. Okay. He's put the microphone down on the table, and Dan Flood has come and said something into his ears here, right? So let me back that up. I'll turn the sound back off. But he finishes up his speech here. He runs Henry Dell off. Hey, the audience had enough of you. Dan comes in to talk to him, and the microphone goes down on the table. I don't know what Dan said, but they're talking back and forth to each other. But I want to back the sound up because I want you to hear what's happened. It's something new that happens here that has not happened in the previous 8 minutes and 50 seconds, that the sound man has been messing with the sound the entire time.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, this is working. Hey, Charlie. Hey, hopefully we're going to have a little bit more disagreement. All right. Hi, yeah, so just wanted to, a few weeks ago,
Did anyone hear what was happening? Yes, there was a feedback loop. I've been in radio a long time. I know what causes a feedback loop. And I know what can control a feedback loop, particularly when your sound man is sitting on the machine. Charlie's mic has no reason to be up high enough to be causing feedback right now. No reason whatsoever. The only reason you would need feedback, the only reason you would get feedback if there's a volume issue. If there's a volume issue, you would get feedback. Short of that, you wouldn't have feedback. And you've got a sound guy who for 8 minutes and 48 seconds was able to control the sound without feedback. Microphone in the lap, no feedback. Microphone on the table, no feedback. All of a sudden, Hunter Kozak walks up to the steps. Hunter Kozak gets to the microphone, and all of a sudden, we've got a real feedback problem. Interesting. And what we get when we start getting the feedback is, watch the sound guy, how he signals, the sound guy that's on his knees over here on the right, how he signals to Terrell Farnsworth to tell Charlie to pick up the microphone. Watch it again.
Sorkin? Hey, Charlie. Hey, hopefully we're going to have a little bit more disagreement.
Again, even the security guard steps in this time to tell Hunter Kozak not to touch the microphone. But watch what happens. So the sound guy has signaled to Terrell Farnsworth. Terrell Farnsworth is now going to come over to Charlie and say, Bud, you got to pick up the microphone.
All right, yeah, so just wanted to, a few weeks ago, a few weeks ago, there was a transgender mass shooter, and ever since then, about 3 weeks later, the Trump DOJ said that we should start talking about.
And you see over there on the right, now we're within 20 or 35 seconds of Charlie Kirk's death here. You see over there at the right, Terrell Farnsworth and the sound guy are having a real conversation. Leaning over, he even made some hand motion. I can back it up if you want to see it. I'll cut the volume so you don't have to hear it again. But he made some kind of hand motion here. He signals to him. They look. See that? He makes some kind of hand motion. Terrell Farnsworth stands back up, leans back down. I'll turn the sound back on for a second so you can kind of hear what we're talking about, because you'll recognize now this is where most of the clips pick up.
Revoking gun rights for transgender Americans. I think you're important this decision. Yeah, is that fair to say? Right. So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Now, from this point forward, I don't believe he puts the microphone down. Or maybe he puts it down one time and the next time he holds it up. But that was the transgender count. How many transgenders have been shooters over the last 5 years?
Too many.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm going to give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
So you guys know what comes next. You've seen this video 1,000 times. I don't have to show you again. But I want to hit mute. I want to back it up a little bit. Now that you know the timing, and now that you know it's important, I think, that he was holding the microphone, I want you to watch when Dan Flood gives the signal. Watch when Dan Flood gives the signal. Now that you know the timing is so important that he's holding the microphone and he keeps putting it down and picking it up, putting it down and picking it up. Or at least I'm making the suggestion, perhaps it was. So watch the timing of Dan Flood's signal. See that? He puts the signal out while he's holding the microphone. Why? We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss that in a second. I'm going to show you some evidence. I think it's to it. Now, I don't want to show the gore. And there's only about half a second of it, but I don't want to show it because my kids watch this program, right? And they haven't seen it. But yeah, so when he looks left, I think we've answered the question. I wondered, and we've talked about it on this program time and time and time again, who is Dan Flood looking at before he gives the signal? He looks down, or he looks right first at Frank Turek, frankly. That's who he's looking at. I'm not accusing anybody, so shut up. I'm raising the issue that this looks awfully suspicious. Someone just made a good point. Let's watch the 9:41 mark here. It's 9:35. It's rolling, it's rolling, it's rolling, it's rolling. What happens at the 9:41 mark? No, that's just him wiping his brow. He's not turning on his meta glasses. I don't think that was it. I think it was just him wiping his brow. But let's just say if you wanted to explore the possibility that this microphone was important and it was important that he was holding the microphone, you would have to signal the timing so that Charlie was holding the microphone because he kept putting it down. Okay, so let's just allow this to sort of play out through some images. You guys know what happens. I'm not gonna delete that or take that off the thing, but I'll come back to it. But I want to now look at some images. To begin with, do you guys know where that microphone is today? Is anyone aware of where that microphone is? I'll show you. That microphone was most recently at Mar-a-Lago during the $10,000 a plate dinner. That's where the microphone was. Now, it's strange to me because there were a lot of things that you could put on display if you wanted to signify Charlie. There's a beautiful portrait, for example, right next to it. You could have his necklace that Erica Kirk held up. You could have one of the T-shirts, the Freedom T-shirts. Those have taken off. You could have one of those 47 hats. But the microphone's a weird touch, I'll be honest with you. It's a weird touch. So that's where the microphone is today. It's in a glass case. It travels around apparently, and recently it was on display at Mar-a-Lago. I don't know precisely where it's located today. So that's question one. Where is the microphone? Now, let's ask question two. What did Charlie's hand look like holding the microphone mere seconds before the shot went off? Or the loud noise went off, we'll call it now. What did his hand look like? That's a good image of his hand there. This is from a tweet I put up today. That is what his hand looked like. Notice the hand. Look at the hand. Examine the hand. Do you see anything remarkable about the hand? I don't. I don't see anything remarkable about the hand. So let's see what his hand looked like immediately following. This is a picture taken 20-something seconds. I think 22 or 3 I counted out. And I wasn't sure exactly when it was taken, so I gave like a 2-second window. This is his hand taken immediately after. What does that look like to you? That's not blood. That's not blood. And there's something else about this. You see these 2 dots up here? What are those? For those saying bruise, he just died, like instantly. You see how shiny that knuckle is right there? Have you ever burned your hand on the stove? Have you ever burned your hand on a pan when you reach in and grab something and you see a little shine on it? You start to rub some butter on it or you put some water over it? So that'll give you an idea of that. I'm going to show you a couple more pictures of the immediate aftermath. Let's see if I can get this one up. You guys may not have seen this one. That is Charlie's arm. That's his right hand hanging down after he was shot. Now there is blood in that on the thumb right there. No doubt about it. Or what appears to be blood on that thumb. But there you get those burn marks or whatever those are. Again, this was 20 seconds ago. For those of you talking about bruises, if you hit yourself 20 seconds later, do you have a bruise? And you're alive. Your heart's beating. I would show you his other hand, but it's pretty gruesome. His whole arm looks like his fingertips there with a little tiny bit of blood on them. His whole arm looks that way. So if that's blood, then somebody took the time in 20 seconds to wipe the blood off and really take the time to get a fresh, clean towel out and, do one of these numbers to it and really clean it up. I think this is an interesting comment. Those are like when a patient gets struck by lightning. So let's keep looking here. Is there another one? Yes, there's another one right here. Let me show you this one. It's another Charles McClintock Wilson photo. It looks similar because it was taken shortly thereafter. You can tell from up here, this is his right arm. That's his ditch. That's his armpit down here. That's his shoulder. That's that two weird things there. And that is the same type of structure there. So that's his right arm. What does his left arm look like? What does his left arm look like? We're going to look at his left arm now for a second. Because I think it's important to see both hands. Now, keep in mind how clean and neat and everything his hands looked just a moment ago, right before I can pull that picture back up if you need to see it. So that's his left arm as he's being carried off. It kind of looks charred. That's his left arm. Now, his left arm, in that image that I showed you, and I can go back to the video, his left arm was what was holding the microphone. And I'm not going to show the point of impact, but he brings the microphone down and holds it then with both hands. It's at that moment when he grabs it with both hands, the shirt flies up and he gets tense. And I'm going to tell you what kind of led me down this path, and I'm going to show you a few more pictures. But that hand looks crispy, I'll be honest. The right hand looked like it had been tased or something, but the left hand looks just fried, in my humble opinion. I'm going to show you what led me down this path without showing the video, and it's hard to do without showing the video. When I first asked the question the other day, why was Charlie still holding on to the microphone when he was dead? Why was Charlie still holding on to the microphone when he was dead? I asked the question. Charlie's dead right now. And we're told. You'll notice if you zoom in on this picture, you'll notice his ring has left his ring finger and is now falling off of his hand. And he is still gripping the microphone. He is falling over, and he's got both hands clenched. I'll show you the other fist in just a second. Now, at first, we were told this was a cerebral reflex due to a spinal cord injury. Well, lo and behold, wouldn't you know, I made a comment about that on air, and I got reached out to by a neurosurgeon. I verified that he was, in fact, a neurosurgeon. The neurosurgeon said, no, that's not true. The neurosurgeon said that's not the reaction to a spinal cord injury. And then actually a nurse told me this today who I was talking to about these images. The nurse said the same thing. That's not a spinal cord injury that makes you do this. That's a brain injury, a deep brain injury, or an electrocution. The neurosurgeon's the one that put me on electrocution. Because I said, why is he still holding onto the microphone? And somebody said, oh, he was a spinal cord injury. Neurosurgeon writes in and says, that ain't a neurosurgery. That's not a neuro injury. That's a deep brain injury or an electrocution. Are we sure he wasn't electrocuted? It looks more like an electrocution to me. And I thought, what? What are you talking about? So I start digging. And I really start digging. And I'll show you one more showing the clenched fists. One more showing the clenched fist. I'm not blaming anybody. Stop it. Stop it in the comments. There are your clenched fists. And again, this is an earlier image than the one I just showed you because he's coming up, and then you'll see in a second, I'll show another image where he drops it, and you'll see what his hand looks like when he drops it. It's pretty crazy. Keep in mind, there's no blood on his hand. He hadn't hit the ground yet. So don't tell me it's a bruise. Don't tell me it's dirt unless he just was like farming with bare hands right before he went on the air, or right before he started the event. So he's clenching this. I must say, I'm impressed I'm able to do this without showing the video. All right, let me find the one where he drops it. You guys take a look at this hand and tell me what you think. This was the clincher for me. An astute viewer of this program sent this image in, and I clipped it out. Look at that hand. I will, if you need me to, pull the hand back up. No blood has left his neck by this point. There's one drop that has gotten near his hand. One drop has gotten near his hand. That hand is fried. You can watch the video, slow it down yourself if you don't believe me. I did not alter this photo. All I did was hit pause and take a screen cap. That hand is fried. That's not bruising. The event just happened a second and a half ago. That's not a bruise. That's not blood. No blood has left the neck. You can pause the video and see when he drops the mic yourself. There's no blood anywhere near his hand when he drops the mic and his hand opens up. Look at that hand. What is going on in that hand? Yeah. Have you wondered why his hands looked like that in the casket? Have you thought about that? You guys have seen dead people. You guys have been to funerals. Have you ever seen a hand that looked like a mannequin? Look at that hand. So a few questions remain. Well, I should show this one as well. I don't think I've shown this one yet. You'll see some marks where one of the astute viewers has chimed in here. Oh, I lost it. So you can see there where he first lets go of it. There's no blood anywhere near him. The thumb and the outer hand are absolutely sizzled. Now, knowing this, let's go back and watch this video again, just a little bit of this video. I want you to watch what's happening around the sound, around Dan, now that we have some context. Yes, that was his ring that was broken off his hand. Now that we have context, let's go look again from the time Henry Dell leaves. Someone said turn on slow mode. I can do that real fast. Give me just a second. Is it bad in there? Hold, please. Where's slow mode? I'll have to let you guys hash it out. Guys, don't spam. Just comment every 30 seconds or so. Because now I got to go through and try to figure out where slow mode is. I want to go through and play the video now. Now that I can't figure it out. You guys fend for yourselves over there. I want to go play the video now. And then I want to go harken back about 10 weeks in this program, and I want to show you something we covered. But I want to go play this video again real quick, if I can find it now that I tried to turn on slow mode. And now I want you to watch with fresh eyes what all is happening with the sound guy, with the security guy, with the supervisor of the sound guy, while we are, hold on, why am I not getting this as an option? There it is. Now I want you to watch what all's going on with fresh eyes. I will turn the sound on and I will turn myself off.
I love doing this. Thank you so much. Hello.
I said I wasn't going to break in, but I have to. Watch 1776. I'm going to play again. He points to Charlie and like gives him the pick up the mic sign. He does this. Watch it. See if that's what he's saying. It looks to me like he's saying, tell him to pick up the mic. I'll play it again. There it was.
Hi. Yeah, this is working. Hey, Charlie. Hey, hopefully we're going to have a little bit more disagreement. All right. Hi, yeah, so just wanted to, a few weeks ago, a few weeks ago, there was a transgender mass shooter, and ever since then, about 3 weeks later, the Trump DOJ said that we should...
Pay attention to how he picks up the mic and puts it down, and watch the timing with Dan Flood as he does it.
I think it's important to say, yeah, is that what you're saying? All right, great. So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
It's 5. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm going to give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang.
Did you catch it? Did you catch it? Now, I think Blake Bednar's, in my opinion, has kind of shown me that Hunter Kozak might also have been a signal, or at least have done something that could be perceived as a signal. I don't want to blame anybody. I'm not blaming Terrell. I'm just saying it would make sense if this is true that Terrell was confident when he went around the corner that Charlie was dead. I don't want to blame the sound guy, but I'm saying if you were going to pull off something like this, you would need somebody down there to control when the mic became ungrounded. I don't want to blame Hunter Kozak, but if you were going to pull off something like this, it might be nice to have somebody signaling when the next question was coming by looking over and adjusting his glasses. Well, I think I didn't go back far enough. So Frank Turek is looking away. Hunter Kozak is asking the question. It would be nice if you were going to pull this off for Hunter Kozak to give a signal and tell him, hey, here comes the question. Look at that. Did you see him look over and touch his glasses? Now, that could just be him looking over because he's a nervous Nelly and touching his glasses. Could be as simple as that. But if you wanted a sign, it would look like that. And then once he does it, if you wanted a sign, now Frank Turek could lean up and touch his hat. And then Dan Flood could see that, and he could step forward and give his sign as Charlie picks up the microphone. Again, I don't know. I don't know if that's what it was. I'm not saying these people are guilty. I'm saying, in my opinion, this looks a lot more to me now, having looked at this, and I will ask you, and I'll go through some of your questions here in a second. This looks a lot more to me like an electrocution. It looks to me like an electrocution. I have asked an AV guy, a friend of mine who does audio video for like stadiums where they do the Super Bowl. I mean, big time places. He sends me pictures all the time from, I don't want to name the fields, but NFL stadiums and NBA stadiums. Here I am doing this. Here I am doing that. He understands this industry. I asked him point blank, could that microphone electrocute you to death? And he said, yes. He said, if that microphone wasn't grounded and you were holding on to it, yes. Now, the signal would make more sense now, wouldn't it? Dan Flood's signal would make more sense at this point. I'll get to the neck blood in a second. Dan Flood's signal would make more sense. Again, I'm just going through this as a possibility. Am I saying this is definitively what happens and I believe 100% this is what happens? No. But I'm saying I've looked at enough evidence of this today and in the last few weeks, really. I've looked at enough evidence of this that I think it's starting to become pretty reliable. And when a neurosurgeon says that ain't a neuro injury from a neck, that you wouldn't do that. That's a deep brain injury. That's a deep in the back of the head brain injury. And then I had a nurse today say almost the exact same words again. That doesn't look like a spine injury. That looks like a deep brain injury. And we're told there's no entrance or exit wound out of the back of the head. So where's the deep brain injury? Well, there isn't one. But now Dan Flood's signal made more sense to me if this is true. I don't know if this is true, but if so, what Dan Flood is doing makes more sense to me. It makes more sense to me. Because now you have to coordinate multiple things at once. First, you have to coordinate lifting the ground on the mic. You have to coordinate lifting the ground on the mic while he's holding it. It can't be on the table. 2, you have to coordinate the loud sound mimicking a gunshot. Has to come from somewhere, or else it's pretty obvious what happened. If there's no loud boom, if there's no gunshot sound, if there's no somebody not running off a roof, then it becomes pretty obvious that he was electrocuted. And the final thing you have to coordinate is some sort of activity simulating a gunshot, either in his shirt or exterior into his neck. Now, I don't know how that happened because I have not solved this case. I have been given plenty of options, and I've thought of others myself. 1, I don't trust Charlie's necklace. He did not sleep with that necklace the night before. That necklace was in his wife's bathroom the night before, and he slept in his daughter's room, and his daughter slept in his bed. He came in the morning to get the necklace. They didn't kiss goodbye. I'm just quoting Erica here. So a possible place the boom could have come from was the necklace. 2, another place it could have come from is the microphone, the wireless microphone he was wearing. Either one of those could have been planted with some sort of poof, some sort of charge, not an explosion that killed him. We might know what killed him. But something that would simulate a gunshot. Now, was that something supposed to cause a giant gaping neck wound, or was it supposed to be under the shirt? I don't know. Like, was something rigged so that it would shoot up in the neck? I don't know the answer to that. I was way above my pay grade. Did some kind of exterior drone or something hit? I don't know. I don't know if you've seen the video of the girl twisting the camera at the last second right at that exact angle. I don't know. Did somebody shoot a low caliber handgun or a low caliber carbine or something from a distance and hit? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Again, I'm not saying I've solved it. I'm saying this must be examined. This must be examined. Absolutely must be examined. Now, you know what happens immediately afterwards is he's pushed to the ground and then he's tended to and carried away. Tended to and carried away. So you would still have to have coordination. Something under the shirt, some kind of sound of gunfire in the distance, somebody running off, and of course, the microphone lighting up at the exact right moment. So you would still need some measure of coordination. Have I solved it? No, I don't try to solve things. Here's what I do. I raise issues once they become, in my mind, credible. This I've been stewing on for a while. In fact, I feel bad because there were some emailers about 6 or 8 weeks ago trying to lead me down this path. And I said, like, stop it. This is ridiculous. Why would you even say this? But this is an interesting theory to me. It explains so much. The random burns on both hands, which are present. It explains the tremendous quantity of makeup on his hands. It explains why he's holding his fist clenched, including clenched on the microphone. And that makes sense to me, too. When I was I won't say a young puppy lawyer, but I was younger. I represented a municipality down in Alabama. And they were being sued because a young kid grabbed onto a fence that had been electrified. And long story of why the city was responsible. But ultimately, they settled the case and gave the kid millions of dollars. But he was dead. They gave his family millions of dollars. But I listened to the expert, and the expert said, when you grab onto something electrified, you're dead. Which is why if you're going to touch something to see if it's electrified, you use the back of your hand. So when your hand clenches in response to the shock, it doesn't clench around the fence. It doesn't clench around the electrified object. It would explain why he's clenched up. So that's that. This is not me saying this is what happened. This is not me accusing Terrell Farnsworth of killing him, but it would explain to me that Terrell Farnsworth knew he was dead. And Terrell Farnsworth knew he could run off around the corner and video it. It explains the ring falling off his hand. Better than getting shot in the neck. I mean, why would your ring fall off the hand if you got shot in the neck? That doesn't make any sense. It explains the need for the coordination. It explains the feedback shortly before the last questioner. It could explain why they were so insistent, people not get anywhere near the microphone, guests not get anywhere near the microphone. It could explain why that they didn't use a Utah Valley University person to do the microphone, and they used a volunteer from the other side of the country. It could also explain this. I want to take you way back in time. Again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. But there is a name I saw listed as the surgeon who worked on Charlie Kirk. There's a name I saw. And I want to show you something we did a long time ago when we were first getting started together as a big family. You remember when we used to look at Google Trends? That's what kind of put this show on the map, right? That's what kind of put this show on the map. This is Lee Trotter. This is the surgeon. That was his name. And this was the searches from Israel. Now, does that mean Israel was involved? No. It just means these searches exist in Google's database. I don't know why they were there. It means they were sent around July 4th of this year and around April 18th of this year. That's all it means. But I would suggest if you were going to try to cover up something like this, you would have to have a surgeon on your side. You'd have to have the doctor on your side. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is what happened. But I think you could get to this point on a lot less evidence than we've shown tonight. And there's a lot more evidence of this, frankly. There's a lot more evidence of this. Now, I want to discuss something we talked about last night because I fell asleep. Sorry, Nate. I fell asleep to Valhalla's podcast on the Candace's source or whatever. Nate agreed that, and that caused us to look up the jet, and that caused us to find the SAM 000 flight to Colorado Springs, and it caused us to connect the Colorado Springs flight to what was taking place here down there in Tucson and at Sierra Vista or Fort Huachuca. That is a wild story that the kid told. It was a 20-year-old kid at the time. Nate doesn't believe the story. He thinks the kid's totally making it up. Maybe an op trying to be disingenuous and make Candace look bad. Here's why I don't believe that. And I'll do it in like 5 sentences, and then we'll move on from it because I don't want to be here all night. It's Thursday. I don't normally go on Thursday. You guys probably have other things to do. That guy supposedly, I'm counting on Candace to be honest, supposedly had receipts that he'd stayed in the hotel, had maybe airline tickets or something. He had a lot of evidence that he was in the places he had claimed he was. There also was the SAM flight, the SAM 702 flight on that day, on September 9th, the day before Charlie Kirk was killed. I had a DOD person email me today and confirm that a SAM 702 would only be present for a 4-star general or somebody as high as the Director of Homeland Security or the Secretary of State, something like that. We're not talking light colonels flying in from D.C. We're not talking about lieutenant colonels flying in from Colorado. We're talking presidential family, the president, the vice president, or a 4-star general. Or perhaps it's Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense. And keep in mind, they went not just to Colorado Springs, but they went to Las Vegas. And here's an interesting point somebody else pointed out by email. There are 2 airports that plane used in Colorado. One was a civilian airport in Colorado Springs, and one was the Air Force Academy. The flights, every flight into Colorado used the Air Force Academy, except the 2 flights relative to those 2 incidents, the August 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th timeframe, when they started planning the event, when Brian Harpole said they started planning the event in Orem, Utah for Charlie Kirk. And the only other time they used the civilian airport was when they flew into Colorado and then down to Tucson and then over to Fort Huachuca. The only other time. Other than that, they used the Air Force Academy. So why the need to land at a civilian airport with a 4-star general or higher? So I just want to raise these issues. I just wanted to be here with you. I was going through this. I've been coming along. I've had several emailers. I don't know that they want to be named, or I would name them. I'm not trying to hide their names. I don't know whether they want to be named. And if they do, maybe I'll come on next show we do, and we'll talk about them and maybe get their thoughts as well. But I wanted to come on as a family and say, hey, listen, what does this look like to you? So I want to ask you, I'm going to come in now and look at some chats, and I want to ask, what does this look like to you? So let's go through these here real quickly. It's become a new nightly routine. Watch Candace, then you explain everything. Thank you. I appreciate that, Christy. Appreciate that a lot. May God walk with you. They're coming for everyone. That is true. And yes, may he. You're becoming one of my favorite podcasters. Keep up the great work. Go Max. Thank you. Legally, is EK an actual victim that makes the prosecutor able to share case info? Yeah, I think legally they could. It's a little unusual, I think, in my experience. I've been around prosecutions before, and it's rare that they share everything they have with the family, but I don't know that there's some requirement that they don't. But I would say this, it's a little unusual, I would think. But I don't know their practice, and I don't know. Other people may disagree. Charlie's parents have any thoughts, opinions about any of it? I don't know if they're public figures. Yeah, they were at the funeral, or they were at the memorial. But I don't know. Apparently, they were private people. You should have more viewers. I just watched your take on the 822 Rob McCoy sermon. Absolutely amazing. Hysterical, too. I do plan to share it. By all means, Elena, share on. And I agree with you. We should have more viewers. I'm having fun. I hope you are. Thanks for the extra night and continuing the progress towards solving the mystery. Yes, this is an extra night of podcasting. Thank my family. They have allowed me to not only do this in the evenings, but prepare in the time before this and the night before and everything else. So thank them as well. They do a good job. But thank you for the generous donation. Diva wife, Candace told Charlie she feels like an alien. Truth be told, I feel like an alien too. I can't understand how some people sleep at night. Thank you, Baron, for all you do. Go Max. Thank you. I was right. He's alive. I don't know that this proves that he's alive. I mean, his hands are fried. His hands are singed. I don't know. What are we looking at? $5 to read a scripture? Is that where we are? This is where we've come? Didn't Jesus turn over tables about that? I'm going to have to find 2 Peter. It's back, toward the back, isn't it? You guys are challenging a Catholic to read scripture. Find it on the fly. Here we go. 2 Peter. I knew it was after Hebrews. Back there in the back. 2 Peter 2, 17 to 22. Last scripture I'm reading tonight, by the way. These people are waterless springs and mist driven by a gale. For them, gloom. That's a lot. It's a lot of scripture. Let me just do the first couple. I'll do the end. What is expressed to them in true proverb has happened to them. The dog returns to its own vomit, and a bathed sow returns to its wallowing mire. Well, that's not very fun. I was expecting like Jesus loves you. For this I know. Randall. Oh, I shouldn't have said your name. Even though your picture's right there. You feed the goats. Thank you, Randall. $50. Randall goes way back with me. He's a good buddy. A long time. As a lawyer, can you weigh in why people are not being deposed? We have a legal process for a reason, put people under oath and full interrogatories. Yeah, not every state allows depositions in criminal trials. I mean, not every, like Florida does. I've taken depositions in criminal cases in Florida. Whereas other states, I've been prohibited from taking depositions. So I don't know what Utah, I'm not a Utahn. Is that what they call Utahns? Cooper is the one who stopped that kid in the hall from talking to the camera after it happened. Yes, I think that's the same guy. I think that's the Mike guy, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I think it's the Mike guy. I find EK's logic of calling everyone challenging the narrative crazy is illogical when it comes to you and your history as a lawyer. Keep winning. I don't think we've been illogical on this program. And I challenge anybody. Hey, do I get things wrong? Probably. I'm willing to correct them. Do I say crazy things sometimes? Yeah. Is this tonight definitive proof he was electrocuted and that there was a fake gunshot and some sort of explosion under his shirt and then somehow either something under his shirt hit his neck or some small arms fire hit his neck at the same time? No, I can't say that. Looks like it. I mean, if I had to put money on it, that's what I would say happened. Because a 30-06 did not stop right there. No way. Absolutely no way. And I'll say that right out. That's not what happened. I would love to know the real reason Erica Kirk got Charlie to get the anointing of the sick by a Catholic priest. She had foreknowledge. Witcher's my hiney. Keep following the planes. I didn't know she did. I know nothing about that. Thank you for the generous donation, though. In an X space the other night, someone said Cooper Brown was Phil Lyman's cousin. I haven't confirmed, but it might be worth looking into. I think all of Utah is Phil Lyman's cousin. I haven't heard anyone connected to this story yet who's not Phil Lyman's cousin. Interviewed Dan Flood on your show. I don't think he would accept. If I was his lawyer, I would tell him that you have a right to remain silent and you better exercise it. But I would say that to anybody, innocent or guilty. Anybody at the scene? If I was Terrell Farnsworth, I wouldn't be talking. If I was Frank Turek, I wouldn't be talking. Dan Flood, I wouldn't be talking. Sound guy down there telling Charlie to pick up the mic, I wouldn't be talking. Cooper, I wouldn't be talking. A lot of people wouldn't be talking. The whole security team, I can't believe they let Brian Harpole do an interview. That just uncapped the fact that they had no idea what they were doing. There's a weird handoff right before the 912 photo girl and Brian. Yeah, he said on Sean Ryan those were mints. I don't know if that's true. OMG, I love your opening statement monologues. My sister and I watch all your videos all the way through and enjoy every moment. Crisis King indeed. Glad we could be of service to you, blue-eyed hillbilly. They shocked him. Dan Flood is up on plastic bins, so it's not going to shock him. And they lay Charlie Kirk on plastic bins, so he's no longer grounded. Crazy. That's an interesting point. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that at all. And Charlie Kirk completed the circuit by touching his hands. But he was on a metal platform on a metal chair anyway. So he'd have gone, I mean, he would have been grounded anyway. But yeah, Dan was on plastic. That's right. No wonder they paved over the scene, right? I mean, think alternatively. Let's just assume this is what killed him. I'm not saying it is. I could be totally wrong. You guys I may get blasted tomorrow all over the place. Oh, Barron's crazy. My dog's crazy. I'm not saying that's what happened, definitively. But let's just assume it did for the sake of argument, hypothetically speaking. I would want to pave over the scene too. And I would want to make sure everybody was far away from the scene. Absolutely. I mean, there might be charred ground. Maybe they drove a grounding wire deep into the ground and then tied it to the, I don't know. I haven't seen high quality images from behind there. I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's wrong and Tyler Robinson shot him from a roof. I'll be honest. This makes more sense to me than that. This makes more sense to me than Tyler Robinson. But I don't know. We'll see. Interesting to think about. Now I'm suspicious about Erica releasing photos of Charlie's hand while he was in the casket. Thank you, Wave Tranquility. You'll notice they looked like plastic. I mean, they were made up. People even talked about how they look like mannequin hands. Itty bitty girl. I uploaded the photo let me start over. I uploaded the photo of the after shooting arm and got info that it's a reaction of someone experiencing shock like bacterial or blood coagulation, signs of someone dying. Just saying. Yeah, could be. But I mean, coagulation doesn't set in 20 seconds. Nor does pooling. Nor does bacterial infection. So, Rick Cutler shot Charlie Kirk. Why don't you look into their own security? He didn't shoot. I don't know if you're new, and if you are, welcome in. I have said time and time again, I don't buy into the palm gun theory. And I think if you slow it down really slow, like microsecond slow, you get a hint of the sound signature before Rick Cutler's arm moves. I really think he might have been triggering something under his sleeve, but he was not shooting. And I don't even think he was triggering something under his sleeve. I haven't bought into the Rick Cutler thing. Maybe. Now, it might be a sign. I don't know. Brian Harpole tells the strangest story about why we had to cut off his Freedom shirt so he could let the medical team defibrillate him. Where's the Freedom shirt? That's a great question. Where's the Freedom shirt? Why is the microphone in a case at Mar-a-Lago? Why did Erica Kirk hold up the necklace? I always thought that was weird. I mean, it wasn't like the necklace was so intertwined to Charlie. He wore it under his shirt. You know? I mean, I don't want to tempt fate, but if I get shot sitting here, are they going to put this SM-7B on display? No, that's ludicrous. I mean, what does that have to do with it? Charlie Kirk I don't want to get into it too much. That's a great question. You can literally see the squib tube hanging out of Charlie's shirt in the third photo from McClintock. Oh, I got news about McClintock, too. I talked to him today. He's a great guy. I really do like him. He said he's going to provide me yet another photo, but I am not allowed to demonstrate it. I can talk about it, but I may not show it in any way. I think that's his necklace. That's not a squib tube. And I can't show the photo because it's kind of bloody. But I'm pretty sure that's his necklace. I might be able to show this version right here. This is what they're talking about. Yeah, because that's not his, or is it? I don't want to show his dead body with blood on it. There. I'll show that. There's no Charlie blood in this scene on his body. There's a few drops on somebody's pants. Let me show this here real quick, just so you guys can see what they're talking about. This is oh gosh. When am I going to get over there? This is the tube they're talking about right there. That's the necklace. 100% without a doubt, no questions asked. That's the necklace. I can see it braided. I mean, it's the exact same braiding that was on his neck before. So, and it's bloody. Yeah, that's the necklace. A taser injury on an arm typically results in 2 small distinct puncture marks where the barbed darts entered the skin. They may also be associated redness and swelling. Well, let me go back to this photo then and tell me what you guys see. Was he zapped again by a taser? That would be interesting. because in this photo, you see two marks. Is that really what it said? Where'd you get that? Well, you can't tell. Don't pay me again to tell me, but maybe some other day tell me. So that is the, oh gosh, why does it change as soon as so that's the two dots they're talking about right there on his arm. See those two dots? I'm telling you guys, that arm is burnt. I don't care how you look at it. And his thumb that's most burnt, that's not blood. That is a burnt, crispy thumb. That is where his thumb was on the microphone. I would go to court on that. And I'm not even an electrician. But these are the two dots he's talking about. But look at that thumb. That thumb is shot. It's burned. That thumb is burned. The back of the hand is shiny and burned. There's no other way to look at it. I would show you his other arms. I encourage you to get on charlesmcclintock.wilson.com and look at the aftermath photos yourself, and you'll see them. I don't want to show the blood on his body. I think it's disrespectful to the family. I really do. And I was guilty. I showed him, on Twitter and whatnot. But I try not to show him anymore. But I don't mind showing that thumb. That thumb is fried. His whole hand is burned. It goes up his forearm. An ungrounded microphone can kill and quick in the right circumstances. Yeah, I think that's the question we're trying to solve. Thank you. Have I showed Candace? Not if she's not watching. Good evening, Candace. Notice I used your preferred name. Good evening. I don't know if she sits around watching this program after she gets off the air. She's got 4 kids. Now, maybe George is watching. George, I got a kid named George. I'm probably not giving anything away. My real name is George. Probably not giving anything away there that you couldn't find with a simple search. After CK hits the ground, he raises his hand. Look, I don't want to because then I got to get past all the shooting, and that's going to take too long here at the end of the show. I will look, though. I will look. I've not heard that he raised his hand. That's why he grabbed the microphone so hard. Wow, electrocution. There are some places that rig electronics. Yeah, I don't know how hard it would be to rig a microphone. I actually have one of those microphones. I just don't have it out. Yeah. I mean, it's metal. It's a metal shaft. It's a metal bulb top, and it's an XLR cable going into it. I'd show you an XLR cable, but the only one. That's an XLR cable right there. This is all metal. But the microphone he was holding was a Shure microphone also. This is a Shure microphone. But he was holding one also, and it's also metal, and it's the same type of metal XLR cable. And what an XLR cable is, this may be a little nerdy for those that don't care about radio or podcasting, but it's 3 wires, 2 electrical wires, and then there's 1 wire that is a grounding wire. If that grounding wire comes loose and I'm holding this microphone like this, it could kill me. This is very dangerous equipment. That's what we're talking about. An electrocution. Not people use the word electrocution. Oh, he got electrocuted. Oh my gosh, when is his funeral? Oh no, he lived. Well, okay, he got shocked. We're talking about electrocuted, meaning removed from this earth. I don't know that that's what happened to Charlie Kirk. I strongly think it now needs to be considered. I strongly believe it needs to be considered. Bro, this is wild. It also explains why Erica is so explicit in putting out the casket videos of her holding his hand. About that casket video, should I pull it up? Well, actually, I would have to go back and find it. Look at his left hand. So her hand is over his right hand. His left hand is caked in makeup. And you know what? You still see 2 wounds. Even under all that makeup, you still see 2 hand wounds. Where did they come from? Where did they come from? He was shot in the neck. Why does he have 2 hand wounds that are so severe they're showing through the makeup? And again, I go back to the Charles McClintock Wilson photo. I know what it looks like to be burned. You're not going to tell me that's not burned. It is not. Holy crap, that's posturing. Yeah. You sound like you know what you're talking about. I'm assuming you agree it's a deep brain injury, not a spinal cord injury at the C6, C7 level or C4, C3, C2, whatever it was. Well, I've got to explain those injuries too in just a second. Well, should I do it now? I might as well. Different surgeon. I think this was an orthopedic surgeon. I hear from a lot of doctors, and because I think we talk about this stuff. Different doctor. I don't know if it was an orthopedist or a neurosurgeon, whatever it was. Talks about how unlikely the C2 would be to be broken if shot right here. And so I wrote back and said, well, what causes C2 breaks? And he said, do you want my honest opinion? I said, no, I want you to lie to me. Tell me, I want your honest opinion. What causes a C2 fracture, if not a gunshot to the neck? And he said, very common broken bone and strangulation. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I don't know the science because I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know if you could get shot here at the C5, C6 level and maybe expanding tissue, maybe cavitation could account for the broken bones. I don't know. I will profess ignorance on all the neck injuries. I will not profess ignorance on the hand injuries. Those hand injuries are something, and they need to be accounted for. Sitting president exits before midterms. Palantir puppet reluctantly takes over as the widow of a recently fallen figure caresses the new leader's transition into power. Politics or improv? That would be pretty wild. She is 36. They've made a point of saying that. She is old enough to be vice president. She would have to be confirmed, obviously. The president can't appoint his own, or her own, I guess. Well, no, his own. We've not had a female president yet. The president cannot appoint his own vice president. It must be confirmed. Would Erica Kirk be able to be confirmed? You know, here's my thought on this. It was the same problem I had with Hillary Clinton being taken seriously. It was the same problem I had, frankly, with Michelle Obama being taken seriously. And this may hurt some feelings, and I don't intend to, but you don't tune in for me to BS you. I need to vote for someone for president whose best qualification isn't who they did the horizontal mambo with. Like, I need some better qualifications than that. Pumping out a couple of puppies by your 35th birthday with somebody is not like, oh, you should totally run the country. Like, we're talking a pretty complex job. A pretty complex job. And so far, in her 90 days at the helm of TPUSA, it's on the brink of disaster. They're not putting out fires. Nobody believes anything they say. They're totally full of crap. Everything Charlie wanted, they're immediately going against. They're now running TikTok ads during the Charlie Kirk show. You've got Turning Point USA employees at the Pentagon asking, why haven't we bombed Iran yet? When Charlie Kirk, like 4 months ago, was in the White House saying, please don't bomb Iran. Whatever you do. Like, I'll be honest. Her best qualification is who she took to bed. That's the only reason you know her name. The only reason you know her name. And that's a tough pill for some people to swallow, particularly if you supported Hillary Clinton or if you supported Michelle Obama. But what had they ever done? That's not me saying no woman could be qualified. I think plenty of women could be qualified. Go be the CEO of a major organization. I'm not talking about a donation firm. I'm not talking about some place that doesn't have to turn a profit. I'm talking about go be a CEO of Google, something that's just massive, multi-trillion-dollar organization. Go be CEO of some investment bank where you're handling actual real-world decisions and have to turn. Then we'll talk. Go be the governor of a big state. We'll talk. But don't tell me you had kids with Charlie Kirk. That doesn't cut it. I'm not buying that. MBKT, whatever. Thank you, $5. Morticians use a lot of heavy makeup. Yeah, they do, but there were still wounds coming through. And I've seen a lot of dead bodies. None of them look like that. Maybe some are heavier handed than others. Do cavitation events occur during electrocutions? How did the entry wound in his neck occur in this electrocution scenario? I asked that question to, was it Claude or Grok? I asked it to one of them, or Gemini. The answer is yes, not a cavitation event, but a severe tensing takes place. And that severe tensing would, and they said, has caused necklaces to fly off, for example, and his did. But I've got a suspicion something else took place under that shirt that caused that necklace to move quite like that. I know a lot of people are saying the extreme cavitation at the back of the neck propelled the necklace upward, causing the thing to snap and twirl around his head like a helicopter blade. And I'm not buying that. Look, I'm not saying I have it solved. I'm saying those hands are burned. I'm saying they took a lot of care and caution about him and that microphone. And I'm saying there was somebody digging around in that sound booth. And there was a lot of concern about where he placed the microphone. And he had the microphone on the table quite a bit towards the end. And there was a signal given right while he was still holding the microphone. And all of that adds up to me as something that ought to be investigated. Apparently his body's not underground. Can we look at his hands? Let's see how fast they get his body in the ground now. May cremate him now. Adriana, thank you. Electrocution angle is shocking. Oh, I see what you did there. And I'm even angrier. Yeah. It certainly implicates, if true, it implicates more people. Again, I'm not saying it is. I'm not accusing anyone. I don't think anyone on this program should contact anyone, anyone involved, Terrell or any of the people that work on that team. I don't think anybody listening or that views this in the next few days should take any action whatsoever other than to investigate on your own. Look at these pictures, talk to electricians, talk to doctors, talk to people, and let's crowdsource this investigation like we've been doing from the beginning. Let's raise this issue to the surface, and if it doesn't pan out, whatever. Life goes on. But you can't carry a man off with two clearly fried hands who just held onto a microphone that was giving feedback with a sound man who was furiously playing with it, with a guy who gave a signal while he was still holding the microphone, with him holding his hands like this and then not look into it. You have to look into it. It must be investigated. If you're the Orem State Police or the FBI, somebody needs to roll him out of the cold slab he's on, peel back the sheet and look at his friggin' hands. It's not that hard. I don't even think you need a warrant. If you work at the place where they've got him on ice, look at his hands. Just look. Maybe the point of showing her hand on his casket was specifically done to avoid attention to his hands being burned. That could be. Only campus that they had fire extinguishers all over that I've seen. Maybe that explains those and why they took the other campus videos down. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how that would explain the other campus videos. Thanks for the donation. L-Bucks, Stephen. This would explain why he's raised up and not grounded. Then the pathway for electricity went out the front of his neck. Everyone said it's an exit wound. I don't know. I've not looked into that. Can electricity cause an exit wound through your neck? I mean, I know the electricity has to escape somewhere, but I would think it would need to escape. Maybe. I mean, you're saying like an arcing of it? I don't know. That would be weird. I don't know if that's possible. Again, I've not definitively said I could not prove this case, but I could prove his hands are burnt. I could prove his hands are burnt. I could show Charles McClintock Wilson's pictures and say, those hands are fried. Those hands are fried. Wonder who used a mic to kill someone. Also the symbolism. Watch what you say. Yeah, but if we're not supposed to know it, we're supposed to think he got shot. So we lost the symbolism there. Great work. This cracks the case, I truly believe. Erica had to put out the video of her holding Charlie's hands in the casket. Yeah, someone agreed with you there. Techie Head, $50, Baron. Please look at the third photo on McClintock's aftermath. You can clearly see a squib tooth. Yeah, I looked at it. Unless it's a different... I still got it pulled up. Let me scan it again. I'm pretty sure that's a necklace. And I don't see anything else that could be a squib tube. I do wonder. I see the rest. You can see some more of his body in those photos. And again, like I said, I'm going to get one more photo from Charles McClintock Wilson. I talked to him today, actually, asking if he had any more photos that could show the hands and whether they're burned, because I'm doing my research. And he said he had one more photo and he would share it with me, but I couldn't show it because it would be disrespectful. And I'll respect his wishes. I will not show it, but I asked him if I could describe it, and he said yes. So I will describe it to you when I see it. I don't know whether I've gotten it yet. I haven't looked since talking to him. Electricity can cause a loud bang as well. Well, yeah, we've heard of lightning, right? Hi, Baron. You're a great storyteller, regardless of the monologue. Please look into Blanding and the uranium mines. I can't make sense of it. You can. So the uranium mines are not in Blanding. The uranium processing plant is in Blanding. It's the only uranium processing plant, I think, left in America. They also are doing rare earth elements out of that mine, and there's some concern that those rare earth elements might be criminally making their way out of the country. So I think that gets everyone caught up on what she's talking about. Let's see here. Has anyone compared the wounds of the victims of the pagers and the wounds to Charlie? Yeah, I think, and thank you for your brief compliment, your compliment there. Has anyone compared the wounds? The pagers were explosions. We saw CCTV video footage of that. They were true explosions. That's not what happened here. There was no explosion like that. There was something under the shirt that lifted. We're not sure what that was. Whether it's some kind of micro propeller or something that took place in his necklace or his microphone. Now, listen, think about this, though. If my theory here were to be true, you would need coordination between a gunshot on the roof, somebody to trigger some kind of detonation device. That's for you, Blake. Somebody to trigger some kind of detonation device under Charlie's shirt. Now you got two people. Somebody to actually penetrate his neck with some kind of device, if indeed the object under the shirt wasn't designed to propel into his chest cavity or neck in some way. So that's potentially three people. Then you would need the signaler. You would need the sound guy. I mean, you're starting to get a lot of people going here. You'd need a doctor. You'd need a medical examiner. You would want to search those people ahead of time. Talk to them, perhaps. DJT's picture is partially decapitated with the new camera angle. Coincidence? Disavow partially? No, because I would never disavow Teddy Roosevelt. This was just when the dog was in here, and I've never reset the camera. That's all it was. The camera's still in the exact same spot it was in when I brought the dog in and had to move it around. I don't like moving the camera. It's too hard. It's hard to get it twisted and get it all right. But yeah, I would never disavow Teddy or Andrew for that matter. I'm a wound specialist there, Burns. Well, thank you, Brittany. I'm taking you at face value. Are they really, though? Are those burns? Dan Flood reaches. This is why I wanted to do this show. I needed to hear from people like Brittany Rose 2164. Those are burns, according to her. Dan Flood reaches for and speaks into shirt mic. Brian Harpole hears him and talks to him. I'd give more to make a point, but I don't have 200 in my budget for Super Chat. Hey, Truth Evades, you don't need 200. You were just hard for 10. And I'm starting to buy that he is dead and the neck blood was I'm starting to buy that he is dead and that the neck blood was a squib for the purpose of traumatizing the public and diversion from the electrocution. I'm convinced there was no shot, hence autopsy report. Well, if you're putting a squib on somebody, they have to be aware of it, right? I mean, you don't just put a squib on somebody. We need to see if Hunter had meta glasses. Could be another reason they don't show the camera behind Charlie. Hunter. Too many names to keep track of. There were a lot of meta glasses. Somebody sent me an email identifying all the meta glasses on the scene. I mean, all the security people except Brian Harpole either had meta glasses on or in their pocket, it seemed like. Compare CK's hands to the casket video. Yeah, talked about that. Thank you, Firma Micah. 2330 in Life is Driving pin video. Cop picks up a mic and banged it on the table. Odd. Yeah, I think I did see that. He did it. I'm not going to pull the video. I was going to pull the video up. He did bang it on the table, look at it, and all that. Maybe we'll look at that if we do a follow up on this. I'm sure we'll talk about this again because I've got to know why his hands are burned. I have to. I cannot go to bed tonight without knowing more about why his hands are burned. How am I going to get through the next month without knowing? Or more. You're making sense, but we all unfortunately saw a neck shot. So both are true hypothetically. We saw something penetrate his neck or exit his neck, yeah. We saw blood and neck. There's no doubt about that. We don't know what we saw. We've been told, this was the whole point of my opening, humble beginnings. Humble. Why do I spend hours writing openings? If you guys aren't going to put the two together, the opening and everything I cover. I'm just kidding. That's my whole point. This is the rug pull moment. Aha! It wasn't a gunshot. That was the rug pull moment. The bodyguard told Hunter not to touch the mic. That's correct. Oh, Hunter. That's who they were talking about, Hunter. Yes, Hunter Kozak. You're right. They did tell Hunter not to touch the mic. And Henry Dell, for that matter. Charlie Kirk life insurance check on 7/9/2025 verified. She's saying it's verified. I don't have that verified. Thinking Coalition Substack. IRS was after TPUSA donations fraud. CK was given an out faked. Shock is survivable. He's alive. Erica Kirk will go down. That's a lot to say. You guys are free to check that out on Thinking Coalition Substack. I have verified none of that. Thank you, Steelers Girl. I love a good plot twist, per your opening statement. Oh my gosh! Burns, electrocution. This is huge. This is like Perry Mason. Well done. It kind of feels like that, doesn't it? At 10:09, Charlie signals with his hand to eye face after Kozak and before Turek. Is that true? Is that true? No, he just itches his eye or something, doesn't he? Hold on. This is so close to the end, and I don't want to show the blood and gore that I'm just going to verify for you guys. I'm at 10:05. Yeah, he picks his nose. He scratches his eye and picks his nose. I do that all the time. I had an emailer say they thought I was on cocaine. I was like, at 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, are you out of your mind? No, I'm wiggly. I can't help that. I don't even drink alcohol. I quit nicotine. You think I'm turned to the powder? Hunter Kozak is also going to be at the town hall. So do you think he was involved? His dad works in TV film. Hunter Kozak is going to be at the town hall? We've basically all seen the whole town hall. They've been leaking clips of it all day. Why would we even bother watching at this point? When I first saw the video on 910, I thought it looked like they exploded his heart and outward force caused the wound. I don't know if that's possible. That's the thing. I don't know whether it's possible to put enough pressure on the chest cavity or shock the heart with sufficient force to explode an artery. I don't know that. I don't know how that works. They would have needed a good battery hidden in a subwoofer or elsewhere. Yeah. Or would a 230 be enough, or a 220, or whatever it is that they have out there? Would that be enough? I don't know. Again, not an electrician. They could have had lots of batteries in those gigantic tubs that they had everywhere. I don't know how that was set up. And I don't know if it would be enough. People have died from wall sockets. The fact that you didn't take tonight to talk about how bad Valhalla blew up your guys' story is telling. Sorry, Blow, but you're in the weeds. No, I did talk about it. You might have sent that before I talked about it. I absolutely talked about it. I don't think he blew up the story. I think there's enough verifiable information there. Now, could he have exaggerated his role? Could he have misremembered something 35 years later? Could he have used inaccurate terminology? Sure. Could he be lying? Yeah, absolutely he could be lying. But if he's lying, he's created a hell of a paper trail. And that paper trail would have had to start, I think, unless he photoshopped everything, which is possible. That evidence trail would have had to start before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. That's incredible planning. And he would have had to somehow, I guess he could have looked to see where there was a SAM flight the day before and said, and I saw a meeting there, but it just happened to be in Arizona. It just happened to be at a place where a lot of planes happen to be flying out of, heading towards Provo and Salt Lake over the next couple of days. Now, come on. I mean, yeah, maybe, but I don't think he blew up the story. Nate did what Nate does. Nate's an Army guy. Nate's a military guy. He was a Special Forces guy. Nate's great. I listened to the show last night. But I didn't walk away thinking he blew up the guy's story. And I didn't walk away thinking that the plane that we talked about yesterday had no bearing. I think it absolutely had a bearing. I think the guy's story still somewhat makes sense. We'll see if it falls apart under scrutiny. But again, the burned hands may fall apart under scrutiny. That doesn't mean we don't talk about them. When you have enough that you think, hey, I've got some corroboration here. I'm looking at the thing. You know, he's clenched. There's a sound guy messing with stuff. There's feedback. He's telling him to hold the mic. Dan gives a signal while he still has the mic in his hand. And then we look at photos afterwards and his hands are both fried. Like, that's enough to go with. I'm going to print. And the same thing. If Candace verifies he has all this documentation and receipts and everything showing he was where he said he was, yeah, let's go with it. Now, Nate said he couldn't have gotten onto the base, but someone emailed me today and said that whatever it's called, not a Claremont, what's it called? Candlewood isn't actually on the base. It's right next to the base. So he could have been at the Candlewood. I don't know. Look, again, could he be exaggerating? Could he be making up parts of it? Yeah, but is he 100% fabricating everything? I doubt it, which is why I went with the plane search and talked about it. But I don't think he blew it up beyond repair. I mean, he just pointed out the guy was an exaggerator. That's what 20-year-old privates are. They're exaggerators. My daughter's a pediatric nurse and said the day Charlie Kirk was killed, he reacted like he was electrocuted. She's seen it happen before. Wow, now I see it. Savage Princess, that means a lot coming from you because you've been a long-time listener, donor to this program, commenter, and emailer, actually, to this program. You've contacted us every way imaginable. And for you to say that, I put faith in what you say. He looks electrocuted to me as well. People said cell phones went out at the event. I heard that. That explains the creepy casket videos and why his hands look fake. Yep. Erica said stop investigating. I bet she did. I bet she did. They wanted the credit of letting the investigation go on a little while. But as soon as it started getting away from him, it was like, oh, you guys got to stop. I bet they did. Erica, by casket holding his fake hands, she knew. I think they were his hands because there's wounds on the other hand. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's someone else's hands. Who knows? Where did Harpole go at the end? A girl steps in and hands him something he puts in his pocket as he's looking around and then walks out of frame. He said it was... I've got it pulled up here. Let me see if you see exactly where he went. He does walk out of frame just before it happens, doesn't he? I got another angle. Let me see if I can see. That's interesting. I didn't put two and two together on that. Let me see on this angle if I can see where he goes. He just walks 2 steps backwards. Oh, actually, that's weird. Because yeah, that's a little weird. He goes 2 steps back by Frank Turek is where he goes. I've got a different angle pulled up as well. Yeah, you could say my office is basically dedicated to this case if you looked around and saw everything laying around. I might have a little of that meme with the guy standing by the cork board and all the strings going everywhere. It might be a little of that. And guess what, guys? I got a new hat. So I don't have to use the old turquoise. This is gray. It's more neutral. It goes with more things. So hat signs will be back. When they're necessary. I didn't have one tonight. Blake Neff, first story, described hearing a crack sound, not a boom sound. Other channels show 5 flashes of light seen on window reflections. Great work. Yeah, I'll let that comment stand because I can't confirm any of that. A necklace or lapel mic are the key to what we saw, but not related to how he died. If it's the necklace, Erica absolutely is not innocent. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. It's a conditional statement, if then. So don't say that we're accusing Erica of killing her husband. That's an if-then statement. If it's the necklace, then she would be involved. Yeah. 10:06, near feedback loop, a shot goes off. If you can find something flying, if you can see something flying through the air in slow-mo too, not saying a bullet, but something, near the feedback loop, a shot goes off. Well, let's see here. I got 2 seconds of it. 2 seconds. You guys will have to bear with me. Yeah, there's... Excuse me, I shouldn't have done that. There's a little tap there. I'm not sure what that was. Didn't sound like a shot. It sounded like a book closing to me or something. Super sticker. Thank you, Linda. Linda Rothschild. We got Rothschilds tuning in. Guys, we're in trouble. We've been infiltrated. Everybody stop. Hey, Tyler Robinson did it. Tyler Robinson did it. He acted alone. There might have been some furries on it. That's it. There were no presidential flights. There were no vice presidential flights. Kash Patel didn't know nothing. There was no meeting in Arizona. That guy's a liar. Valhalla proved it. Guys, there's a Rothschild. Straighten up. Been an electrician for 32 years, DC burns. I trust you as well. Who couldn't trust a guy named Fern Makasick? Honestly. Squibs use electricity. He's being zapped from his squib going off. There's a video showing everything. I've dropped the link in the comments 8 times. I've not seen it. Email it to me. At realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Remember, 1 R. 1 R will get you to me. A ring breaks off a finger from a neck shot. Wild. Yeah. So, to be fair, to be completely fair, it's the type of ring that opens at the bottom, right? But it's still opened at the bottom. And he was shot in the neck, allegedly. I want to start using allegedly when we talk about gunshots now. I am no longer convinced he was shot in the neck. It would be interesting to ask a mortician if it's normal to put that much makeup on the hands, if not covering up an injury. I know someone who went to mortician school. Who was that? Oh, I know exactly who it was. I used to work with her in Auburn. I could reach out to her, send her the pictures, and ask her if that looks normal. Oh, I got a church with a mortician. He works at the Catholic cemetery just down the road here. I go to church with a mortician. I'll ask him. I'll ask them both. Slow those videos down, and brown shirt guy, Rick Cutler, security guy in crowd, makes hand signals as well. Show them side by side the other signaling guys. There were a lot of what looked like coordinated signals. Agreed. I don't know whether Rick Cutler was one. Dan, I'm willing to accept that Dan Flood's, in my opinion, was a signal. Beyond a doubt. I'm willing to entertain the idea that Hunter Kozak looking off to this, because why is he looking off to the side and doing that? That's just weird. I get my cheaters back out, so y'all know I'm old. He does this, he's looking, and then he looks over and he goes, and then he comes back. And then, I mean, it's a weird move, dude. A weird move. Ugh. Can't see anything now. Oh, now I'm gonna have to put them on. Take my eyes a minute to adjust. They're like, oh, finally, we can relax. No. Tighten up. Let's see here. I'm asking Blake's questions. I'm asking Blake questions. What question would you ask? Who's Blake? Blake Neff? Why are you asking Blake questions? Email me. This is a conversation I don't want to have on air. Why would I tell you on air what I would ask Blake Neff and then have Blake Neff prepare to answer? It'd be better to email and then you ask him when he doesn't know. It's coming. It's like telling somebody the calculus test before you give it. Joe Ninja. Like how I got away there with that one? That was close, Joe. You almost made me say something ugly. I have a hard time letting go of the lapel mic theory. God bless you, Baron. Keep going. Lapel mic or necklace, either one could have been rigged with a device. some sort of micro explosion. It doesn't have to kill him. It doesn't have to shoot into his neck. It just has to make his shirt move and simulate a gunshot. That's all it has to do. For my theory. Not my theory. For this particular theory that we're entertaining tonight. Hi, Baron. I've been looking at the video of him in the casket today. You can see his left hand was bruised in the casket video. I've always wondered why. He wasn't wearing a wedding ring. We're at 243 comments in writing, so I might have to be a little selective here, but I'm going to try if I start moving quicker, that's what's happening. Hi, Baron. With the fact that Charlie elevated his seat off the ground, a.k.a. not grounded, intensified the electricity. I think he was grounded. That was a metal platform. He was on a metal chair, and the metal platform went to metal stands that went into the ground. So he would be grounded. But I think even not grounded, there's something about completing the circuit there that could cause, I think, again, not an electrician. That's someone above my pay grade, but I do think he was grounded. It doesn't look like Charlie Kirk slumps at all, but actually that Dan Flood tips the chair over and lets him drop. Watch for yourself. That's correct. 32-year electrician, DC burns, AC heart attack. Oh, I see what you're saying. DC direct current burns, alternating current gives you a heart attack. Got you. Absolutely the dumbest theory I've heard so far. Please just make the Bitcoin video before your credibility deteriorates too much. Jason, I couldn't disagree with you more. I theorized Rick Culler had something in his shirt that triggered the noise. If Hunter was involved, he likely would have worn a comm device of some sort, causing the feedback loop. I've had spinal injuries. You lose your grip. Yeah. Thank you, Baze, for that. Spinal injuries. I've been told by multiple medical professionals in my email when I raised the issue of why was he clinching. Multiple people emailed me to say they don't think that was a spinal injury. The way he seized up and didn't drop the mic has been bothering me. Never looked right. He was elevated up and back. Didn't get blown over sideways. He was jolted up. Thank you. This makes sense to me now. It makes sense to me, too. Again, I'm not definitive on this, but this is, to me, the most convincing theory I've come across yet. Erica Kirk and Glenn Beck interview is insanely similar with how Taya Kyle and Glenn Beck interview. He is the widow grifter. Back then, no one could challenge the Navy SEAL Chris Kyle story. I'm not aware there was a conspiracy theory around it. I might have to look into it, Panther. Thank you for that generous donation, by the way. Very, very generous. And that's why they rushed CK to the car. They couldn't have the EMT examine him. Ladies and gentlemen, you, Adriana, have just blown my mind. There were 2 EMTs, and if you watch the Life is Driving video, they were like wandering around afterwards, wondering like, why in the heck weren't we allowed to? Yes, they had paramedics bags, big red paramedics bags, and you could see them when they're carrying him to the car, running out beside the car. Like, hey, we're right here. Wouldn't it have been better to have 2 trained EMTs in the car than Frank Turek and Brian Harpole? For example. But if his hands are all burnt up, and you got to plant a 30-06 round in his neck and the hole that's opened up in his neck, maybe, and you got to break some vertebrae, maybe you don't want him around. I don't know. I'm not suggesting these things happened. I'm playing the story out because I think now that I've seen the burned hands, I have to start asking, why are they burned? It's a legitimate question. And the story cannot be put to bed unless somebody answers why they're burned. They're burned. They're burned. In my opinion, they're burned. And so no amount of Jack Posobiec getting on Twitter saying, Tyler Robinson took the gunshot. Tyler Robinson took the gunshot. Tyler Robinson took the gunshot. There was a 30-06 found. His dad turned him in. I have no doubt that a gun was there. I have no doubt that Tyler Robinson was there in the area. I mean, his car was seen there. He was seen at a Dairy Queen 6 hours later. He was in Orem. I have no doubt that there was a screwdriver there. But why are his hands burned? That's a legitimate inquiry at this point. Why are his hands burned? I just looked this up on Google, and that is the exact photo you showed of Charlie Kirk's hands. I'm shocked but that means the doctor is in on this. That's your opinion. I have a similar opinion, but it is an opinion. I cannot say. I was not in the surgical suite. I was not examining the body. I've never examined Charlie Kirk's body. All I am examining is high-quality, high-resolution photos taken by a professional photographer that seem to indicate the hands look burned. Really, really burned. And these pictures were taken 20 to 25 seconds after the alleged gunshot. Did you notice before the cameraman walked away from the camera, he took his glasses off, then Hunter touched his glasses. He put them on, and the guy beside it touched his glasses, then Frank, then Dan. Before the cameraman walked away from the camera, he took his the black cameraman in the background, he did take his glasses off. I know exactly who you're talking about. He had the green LA hat. I'm looking at him right now on my screen. And then Hunter touched his glasses. Correct. So black guy in a green hat takes his off. White guy in no hat touches his glasses. And then the guy beside him touched his glasses. I didn't see that part. Let me look at that one. And then the guy next to him touched his glasses. This is interesting. I don't want to. This is only gonna be like 5 more seconds. Yep. Yeah, you nailed it, brother. You absolutely nailed it. There's a lot of glass touching right there all at once. Watch Dan Flood pushing him might look different to us in light of this theory. Yeah, he might be wondering if he's still lit up. You wonder why he didn't pick him up and put him down. Good call. If electric, any part of the inlace could be exit point. Oh, any part of the necklace could be exit point. That's a good point. If he's charged up, yeah. What I wondered was, and what I couldn't get a definitive answer on before showtime, could an electrical shock between both of your hands touching between your crotch light up a 30-inch necklace with a cross and a St. Michael medallion with such force that it penetrated the neck? Or would there had to be some kind of simultaneous explosion under the shirt? Or would that shock have been enough to lift the microphone and the necklace at the same time? That's what I don't have an answer to. Thank you for the super sticker. Too bad we can't do a study group. Chat is incredibly fast to try and sort and study. Yeah, it's part of it. Not allowing the questioner to touch the mic is normal procedure. I thought so. I just wondered if the grounding issue was one of them. But kind of what I thought is they could fix the mic. You could break the mic or break the ground of one particular mic. You wouldn't have to break every mic in the building. Found you 2 weeks ago and have binged every live since the first Trends episode. Love the show. Shout out to a fellow Southern Mary worshiper. We don't worship Mary, Matthew Harris. We venerate. P.S. The Richardson 112 is the greatest hat ever made. I do. I have a 112 and a 115. This is the 115 here. I'm ready to put a sign on it. I'm ready to be bad cop. I'm coming with handcuffs, people. Handcuffs. Wait a minute. There was an interview, I think, with EK not that far back where she talked about someone training him to breathe and set the mic up and down. I have not seen that. That would be very interesting. I think they put the mic in the glass case to put on display to reinforce it had nothing to do with it. It wasn't the actual mic, obviously. Might not be. I'm not married to the story. My life goes on either way. But if we're asking why his hands are all burned up, you got to think, what was the last thing he touched? Well, the last thing he touched was the mic. Big Ten ain't ready for the SEC. Go Dogs. Maybe. We'll find out. Sent you Megatron photo of Eric and BB's son. I saw that. They are the Arizona Israeli Political Affairs Committee. Thank you so much for bringing this up. I always thought there was something off, lack of blood. Nobody has to be a good shot, nice and neat. Don't have to count on somebody making a shot from 142 yards, do you? And not hitting anyone else. And not going through his back and shooting people behind him. I'm glad we're still able to be challenged. Thank you for being here on Thursday. Keep us thinking. Appreciate you, Johnny, 2 times. I do say things a lot, Veronica. 2 times. I almost said I do say things 2 times. But I didn't. I held back. Please send this info to Candace Owens. I don't know how to get it to her. She gets so many. I know how many emails I get, and I'm small fry. I cannot imagine how many tens of thousands of emails she gets every day. I don't know how she's able to sift through the email. She got to have 4 people just to sift through the email. And I don't have her phone number. No, I have no way to get it to her. Nate protecting his own. Green Berets. Yeah, but he kind of made fun of him. Dan barely touched CK's tee afterwards. Yeah, he was gentle. Electrocution, ungrounded, corded microphone. Kind of looked like it. Again, that's an opinion. That's an opinion. Would Dan get an electric shock when he touched him so quickly? Thanks for doing the extra show. It depends on it depends on how they did the grounding. You know, if they did like a switch where he could flip the switch, shock him, unflip it, because he dropped the mic, indicating the shocking had stopped. And then he dropped it. And both hands loosened, if you watch the video. You'll remember. Let me find some. The only thing I have are scissors, but he does this, and then both hands loosen, and the mic comes out. It had been regrounded at that moment, or the electricity was cut to the mic at that moment. Either way, it should be safe, but I still wouldn't want to go put two hands on somebody who had, just been in the electric chair. Thank you, Coleman family. Good man you got there. Oh, thank you, mail lady. Appreciate that. Railgun could cause this. High voltage accelerates projectile. Where was the railgun set up? I mean, railguns are huge. Huge. 10th Special Forces Group is based in Colorado, trains regularly at Fort, it's supposed to be Huachuca. Their trainee Green Berets are Maroon Berets, known as the Maroon Platoon. I did not know that. I mean, I knew the 10th Special Forces Group was based in Colorado. I did not know about the Maroon hats and their training down there at Fort Huachuca. Will you be doing explanations on the trials? As regular folk may need extra help. It depends on what kind of level of. I will. I'll go live all day during the trial if you want me to, and I'll do simulcast if you need me to. I absolutely will, but I don't know how much access we're going to get. This judge has been very, very stingy with access, so it'll be interesting. But yeah, I'll go full court TV if you want me to. I'll make a show out of it. I'll bring Ian on. If Candace wants to come on, we'll have a big, actually, she wouldn't come on my channel. I would go on hers. We'll have a big time. We'll do a big old live stream. We'll have a bunch of fun. We'll make Dr. Pepper and popcorn, about as weird as I get these days, but we'll have fun with it. DF places a small fan under Charlie's seat just before he starts. Looks an odd place to put it. That is interesting. I didn't see that. That is interesting. Might have to look at that. That's a good tip. He also does arm movement. See New York Post vid. Thank you. Explains why I didn't use medics on scene. Yeah, someone just said that's a good call. Good call. Have an implant filling causing neck wound. Would a filling cause a problem? He had strawberry seeds. Does that help? Stay safe and keep speaking the truth. May God bless and protect you. Thank you. I'll do my best. They cemented the scene. Could the electrocution leave evidence? I think so. I think it absolutely would. Have you ever seen where where lightning has struck the ground? Also, was there a camera stand near the audio guy in the corner of that tent? Could it have a gun or gadget in it that caused the shot? Yes, there was. There was a woman operating it, and right as the sound went off, she made some twisty motion with her hand and looked back under the hood. It looked weird, if we're being honest. I don't have the video pulled up. I'd have to dig through my archives and find it. Does this theory about the hand on the mic explain why Erica posted a very personal... Yeah, the hands kissing, it appeared inauthentic and fake. It definitely appeared inauthentic and fake. It was weird. I've never seen a public person post such a thing in my life. I've seen a lot of celebrities die. I'm 46 years old. I mean, celebrities, I've never seen their spouse kissing their hands in a casket the next day. By far, top 5 weirdest television moments I've ever seen. Thanks for not showing the exact last moment for Charlie. My poor child saw it and told me not to. Yeah, I know good friends who have not seen it. My wife hasn't seen it. My wife has not seen that shot. As if Gen Z needs more to be anxious about. Maybe that's part of the plot, unrest. How do we know that the mic in the glass case is the same mic Charlie had on stage? We don't. We don't at all. But it's kind of, I don't want to say that. It's kind of the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Like Charlie Kirk dies. If you told me Charlie Kirk just died, like the day he died, Charlie Kirk just died, what are the top 20 items we could display that would indicate who he was? I might say, let's get his family Bible. Like if I die, go grab my Bible right here. I turn around and grab it all the time for you guys. Maybe his family Bible. Maybe the shirt he died in, or a replica of it. Maybe some of these hats he hands out. It'd be a long way down before I'm like, maybe the microphone he was holding when he died. Huh? What are you talking about? Who would say such a thing? That's weird. It's very, very weird. Watching in Hartford, Tennessee. Very compelling. The left hand is very odd, and the ring flying off would explain the team acts so weird when he goes down. Yeah. Would absolutely explain why the team acts so weird. I would also be curious. I need to go back and see what kind of shoes they were all wearing. Because I noticed Dan is standing on top of 2 plastic tubs right there. It'd be interesting. Brittany, thank you. JWH, back to 502. Are you the one that gives 502 every time? Did you inquire about the doctor and nurse if electric shock could produce an exit wound? I did not ask them. I looked and looked for evidence that an electric shock could cause a neck wound to open up and spill blood, and I was not able to get there. Thanks, Yorkie. Elena, necklace might be something considering Erica and Brian were looking for it so desperately. I made that point a few episodes ago. I want to know why she needed to have the necklace. I want to know why Brian was so panicked to find the necklace. Your husband just died. Your husband just died. His physical body is in the other room at the hospital. They're about to do the cleanup. You're about to have your opportunity to say your final goodbyes. You have to explain to your 3 and 2 or 4 and 1 or however old children that their father's never coming home again. You have to go home to an empty house. You've got to talk to, you know how it is when someone dies. And I hate to be morbid, but you got to call everybody. You got to call your mom. You got to call your dad. You got to call cousins. You got to call his family. They don't want to hear it from Mikey. They want to hear it from you. And you're worried about where his necklace is? Are you freaking kidding me? Keep the necklace. Who cares where the necklace is? Or maybe she just offhandedly mentioned it and Brian exaggerated the story. Like, oh, she was frantically looking for it to make himself out a hero because he's the one that found it. I could see that. Like, she was like, have you seen his necklace? He liked that. I'd like to have it as a keepsake. I see he doesn't have it on. And then he turns that into he's some kind of hero because she's frantically looking for it. That's possible. But if she really was frantically looking for it, I need a red flag. I need some kind of red flag I can swing around. I worked at Timpanogos Hospital for 15 years. That doctor trained in a government medical area. Well, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that. I hadn't done any research on him. Since, honestly, that's the first time I've looked his name up since I had to go back and look at the show I did. Because there were just so many other doctors. I had to go back and look at the show to figure out which doctor worked on him. And to figure out the dates I used for the Google search. He's still there, by the way. Brian, wouldn't Dan Flynn have been electrocuted as well when he grabbed Charlie and lowered him to the ground? No, I think I explained that. By that point, he had dropped the mic, meaning the electricity had been cut to the microphone or the grounding had been reestablished. Do you think they took photos down because video too damning? I don't know what photos they took down. Two things to be true. Both methods happened. We need a detailed AI analysis of the video you just showed next to Rick Cutler video at the same time. You guys and Rick Cutler, you're never going to let that poor guy go. Candace, it was supposed to be you. Everything points to CK's death being faked. He was given an ultimatum. Candace goes or he can become a martyr and turns over control of TPUSA, and all involved are terrible actors. I don't think all evidence points to the death being faked. His hands are fried. That's hard to fake. And why would you fake it? You're supposed to be faking a neck wound. Why are you frying his hands? Asked AI when the first time Charlie wore that Freedom shirt, it was made available and Google Trends searches for it. Never before that day. New book. Your content and personality is top. Well, thank you. Thank you. I got to get by on this face made for radio, so I got to do the personality thing. Brandy and Billy show, $20. Wow, explosive info, Baron. Hey, Brandy and Billy are going live tonight. I think this at 8 Mountain, which would be 9 Central, about 25 minutes. So if you want to catch the very first ever live Brandy and Billy show, and I think they have a whistleblower on If I'm not mistaken, that's who they had tonight. I'm pretty confident that's who they had tonight, a whistleblower. So this will be a good interview, and it'll be a good test for them. Interviews are not easy. So have a little grace for them if they're not top notch, but they will be. They're great. Thank you, ladies. Have you had a chance to watch the Charlie Kirk Operation 322 video? I think no, I've not. I've not seen it. Sorry, I wish I had. Smash that like button. Yes, smash the like. Subscribe to the channel. Share. Click notifications. All the things that keep this channel active and live. Got here late. Sorry. Nobody yet has verified his whereabouts. Brian Harpole on the 8th and 9th. Nobody yet. That doesn't mean nobody can. It doesn't mean he was in Arizona. It just means we've not yet heard anything publicly. Just subscribe. Thank you, Yorkie. Grok and Jim and I both said electrocution can indeed cause an exit wound that bleeds similar to a gunshot. Wow. Well, then I bet they weren't expecting that. I bet that shocked the hell out of somebody. Assuming this is true. Yen. Yes. Next time I go to Japan. With your legal expertise, can you explain the hearing today with Tyler's in-person appearance, specifically the mentions of media intervention? I could be maybe wrong in my description. I can't because I worked all day. I worked all day. In the very few breaks I took, I worked on this show. So I can't. I didn't really pay much attention to it. And I know you guys are saying, what the hell kind of media personality are you? Hey, I don't make enough from this program to quit my job. If I did, well, if you're watching from work, I would never quit my job. Actually, I won't. I love my job. It's a great job. But no, despite Erica Kirk saying people make hundreds and thousands of dollars per episode, you can't do an episode 7 days a week, Look up what is called a coin shrinker capacitor, bank dump, high voltage, high amperage, contactor trigger sounds like a gunshot. Coin shrinker capacitor. I'll look that up. I'll look it up. Wasn't Hunter Kozak caught recording it? Yes, a rehearsed reaction. He claims he was like making fun of somebody, like, oh, but it looked exactly like he did when the gunshot took off about 30 minutes before Tyler went on stage. Yes, look up taser marks. I have not. I don't like blood and gore. I don't like blood and gore. Thinking back to how odd Charlie's shirt looked, electrocution could cause his shirt to vibrate with the residual static electricity or muscle spasms. Oh, could it? I don't know. I am not an electrician nor a physician. I'm a lowly country lawyer. Autopsy could show magic bullet hokey pokey, in theory. Watching this behind me, but could it have been a suicide? It was planned, his wife knew, his team knew. No, there's no way they would all be in on that. Shouldn't the microphone be in evidence? Now it should. I don't know before today that this has really been raised as a key issue. Not widely that I've seen. Look up Elbit Technologies. Why? Notice George and Candace are traditionalist Catholics. SSPX, only you will understand. I am not SSPX, nor is Candace. I know where she goes to Mass. I have... The only thing, I'm not SSPX. I'm Latin Rite Roman Catholic. And I attend Latin Mass and I attend the Novus Ordo. Just depends on what day it is and what's convenient. I'll just be honest. I've seen Candace at Mass. I know for a fact that she go, I know for a fact where she goes to Mass, and I know for a fact it's not an SSPX parish. It is a diocesan parish of the Diocese of Nashville. So Michael Knowles goes there. This is I've seen this circulating, and I've seen enough people saying where she goes, so I don't feel like I'm putting her in harm's way or anything. But I think it's a disingenuous attack. I'm not sure why she's being attacked that way. Switch on the ground wire. Etsy 728. I'm probably going to edit that out, that audio where I said that part about Mass. First time seeing you live. Thank you, Wendy Leby. Regarding deep brain trauma, home defense ammo fragments can on impact so as not to hit someone in another room. Perhaps fragments go everywhere versus actual bullet casing trauma. Yeah, a fragmentation, but you would have to think a fragmentation would enter here at 2,000 feet per second and then take in soft tissue before hitting it, take a 90-degree turn and go straight up into the deep part of his brain and happen to hit. Come on, Wendy. Come on, Wendy. When you get electrical shock, usually the shock comes out of somewhere in the body. Yeah. It's what I hear. It's what I hear. We ought to look at people that get struck by lightning. Do they ever bleed? We know they can do this. Who are they? Plural? Come on. We don't do plural pronouns, sir. That's racist. Plausible considering he was seated on a platform. Blood on Charlie's right arm could be where he fell on the floor on his left side, and his right arm fell over to the blood on his left side. I don't think it's blood. I think he's burns. I think they're burns. Fresh burns. Mic drop. It kind of feels like it. I don't know. Again, I don't know that it's accurate. But it would take a lot of people being in on it. And it would explain a lot of their really weird behavior and explain a lot of the intense desire to pin this on Tyler Robinson. I posted about the fan under the chair before. I saw you mentioned Electrocuted. Well, before you mentioned Electrocuted. Wow, love you, Baron from Scotland. Hey, thank you, Scottish man. Based Scottish man. Was the microphone wired or wireless? It was wired. It had an XLR cable. Absolutely wired. Do you have an email for tips? Just curious. I do. It is realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. That's my mattress firm voice, in case it sounded familiar. I don't know if they want me doing their ads anymore. I haven't done them in 10 years. Where was it? Here. Watch Mikey at same time too calm, too quick to move like he knew, and Erica put out over her crying over Charlie's hands. Candace showed the clip. Yep, got you, Kiwi. Talked about it. 2 holes in the CK arm from Erica's fangs. That was classic. I really wish I'd come up with that. Maybe he was electrocuted when he fell. Maybe the cords came loose from what it was plugged into. Aubrey. Come on, Aubrey. First time watching the show, just subscribe. Thank you, Yorkie. Did SF special effects in movies. Rigged squibs many times in many places. This is plausible with electricity. Things done to fool cameras back pre-CGI, masterful. Well, we got a pro in our midst. Thank you, Rachel. What are you saying is plausible? The squib? This theory feels right to me. Go Max. You become my favorite podcaster. Thank you, Toby. Was Randy 18? Thank you. Dan Flood looks down to make sure he's on a grounded mat, then signals when Charlie has both hands on the microphone. Yeah, he's definitely up off the ground on plastic tubs. And Charlie is definitely not up on plastic tubs. He is on metal. Sitting on a metal chair, on metal platform, on metal ground. And I'm not even sure, again, I'm not sure you would even have to be grounded if you touch with both hands. But maybe you would, and if so, he is. We even talked early on about this is the only time Charlie's ever been that high. The bottom of his knee, his rear end, the bottom of his chair is above the table. That's so high. So high. It's like they only had one metal stand, and I guess we're going to put him in the sky. Go to Salt Lake Tribune, September 10th. You can see his forearm clearly when throwing hats. No moles or double dots. Yeah, I didn't want to go through all the Charles McClintock Wilson photos because drive traffic to his website. But and there's so much more beautiful there than they are through the double stream of StreamYard and YouTube. But no double dots on those either before the event. Found you recently. Love your nightly shows. Keep speaking the truth. Oh, I can't do these nightly. No. The missus would not approve. I can do them occasionally. Like 2 or 3, 4 nights a week. Look at my comments in the super chat for that video proof that Charlie's wearing a squib. This is all fake. I saw the comments, and I saw many of you email me that one video that it kind of looked like a squib, that one picture from Charles McClintock Wilson that kind of looked like a squib where he's doing this thing with his neck. But if you look, Charles McClintock Wilson has a lot of other really high-quality photos of Charlie's neck, and I'm just not seeing the squib. Now, that doesn't mean that a talented, Miss Rachel back here, whatever her name was, a talented special effects person wouldn't be able to hide the squib from even the highest quality Charles McClintock Wilson photographs, but I see no evidence of that. This thing gets sadder and sadder. Yeah, it does. Watching for the first time, just subscribe. Thank Yorkie. It's like the third time you told me that. Anastasia, thank you. The judge. Are we ever going to see the autopsy? You might see a report, but I don't trust the report anymore. I don't trust the report. Nobody said his hands were fried. Nobody said his hands were burned this whole time. We've heard about the fragmentation of the bullet. We've heard it's gone up. We've heard it's gone down. C2 down to C7, neck of steel, 30-06 rather. I almost said 308, 30-6. We've heard all these other things. Has anybody mentioned his hands were fried? We now know they were. We now know they were. Just tuned in. What do you need help with? Anastasia, I think I got it tonight, but I appreciate it. If you want to help with some research, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com is always open. Always taking tips. There's now some doubt about how often Erica took Charlie to bed. I mean, we know the night before he didn't. And he was gone 250 nights a year, I think. So, you know, Milo says CK was gay. I don't know that. I'm not saying that. Milo says a lot of things. Milo says a lot of right things too, but he also says a lot of things that I find questionable. But he's got a right to his opinion, and he's been an important voice in the space a long time. That would make Erica a beard, not a honeypot. Well, I have no doubt there were some Flintstone characters around Charlie Kirk. Whether he was one of them is I've not been able to confirm. 12 4-star generals on Joint Chiefs of Staff at Pentagon. Hegseth tried to reduce it. Okay. Thank you. Look into high-powered invisible infrared or ultraviolet lasers functioning at dangerous directed energy weapons that are invisible to the naked eye and have lethal potential. Primarily military uses. Good luck. You're saying a laser might have bored a hole through his neck? At the same time, something caused his shirt to jump up? At the same time, there was an alleged gunshot in the background? And at the same time that his hands touched the microphone and appeared as if he might have been electrocuted? Well, that's a new twist. I don't know if that's true, but that would be a new twist. It's the tiny size of his hands in the coffin compared to Erica's, not just the heavy makeup. They aren't Charlie's. I noticed they were little hands for a guy who's 6'5". Charlie's huge, by the way. Charlie is massive. You see him around people, he might have been taller than 6'5". He's a big boy, or he was. Well, he's still big. He just they ain't even in the ground yet, so he's big on a slab somewhere. Yeah, he's a big kid. And I was surprised how tiny his hands were because her hands just swallowed his hands. Mini CTC. I thought our truths side, Andrew, man, you guys start giving me all the abbreviations and stuff. Andrew W streamed Candace's from yesterday saying nothing ever confirmed or verified, skipping past Tucker and other verifying info, said he was bored in chat, acted like it didn't happen. What are we talking about? $20, Andrea. I wish I could respond to that. You paid for me to respond to that, and I cannot because I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what CTC is. Mini CTC. I don't know. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for your generous donation. I just wish I could. Holy moly, this is the best theory I've seen. We need to press Farnsworth. Yes. Farnsworth needs to be pressed. So does the guy furiously working in the soundboard up until the moment of the big kabang. They both need to be pressed. Whoever 1776 hat is need to be pressed. Trisha, one of the only truth tellers, for the love of God and minds infinite, do not end up compromised like all the others when they try to burn you down. There's a few truth tellers now throwing in major tidbits against the truth. I can name them. I feel like I can name all the ones that are left. I'll do my best. I cannot be bought, but I can be rented. No, I cannot be rented. I cannot be rented. Did you see the photo that shows skin-colored bandage? I saw the photo, but I don't think it's a skin-colored bandage because there's other high-quality photos from Charles McClintock Wilson that do not show a bandage. Clearly don't show a bandage. I think it's just shading. Needs to be investigated. Yeah, everything needs to be investigated. Proper Southern Belle. Electrocution can cause cavitation called electrothermal blast injury in medical literature with blast-type injuries, explosive entrance-exit wounds. I'm learning new things every day. I'm taking your word for it. Could this mean an accidental death? No. No. An accidental death wouldn't have had a guy running from the rooftop being blamed for shooting Charlie Kirk. I've ruled out accidental death. I entertained that for a very short period of time. Not to be morbid, but this is why they don't want him buried until he is only skeleton so no one can dig him up and examine the burns. I thought about maybe they don't want to turn the body over to anyone else. Think about it. When you bury somebody, you're not the one that lowers them into the ground. You got to give them to a funeral home. They've got to get out there and dig a hole. It's a whole process. Could explain why the vice president came and picked him up. Direct energy weapon? I don't know. High voltage injuries, exit wounds are seen 60 to 80% of fatal cases where current path is hand to foot or hand to hand with grounding. Wow. I'm trusting you on that. Maybe that's what was in all those boxes. Maybe it was something providing voltage. Is that true? 60 to 80% of fatal cases have an exit wound? A lot of people think Rick Culler allegedly used a palm pistol and shot him. Could that shot? No. No. Until you show me someone shooting accurately using a palm pistol with his friend standing behind the target. Keep in mind, directly behind Charlie was Dan Flood in that guy's line of sight. So you're telling me he grabs a palm pistol and let me take your thing down so they can see it. And no, not that one either. You're telling me he takes it down and goes, bang, and that's all? Bang. I mean, that fast. And if he's off by like half a degree, Dan Flood takes it. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Could that shot be what we saw on the neck and allow for extra? Yeah, no. I just don't think so. Off topic, but Baron, would you ever have a Bible study pod, maybe one night a week? I'm really drawn by your passion and knowledge of Catholicism. It's a really good question. Let me preface it by saying your picture's totally inappropriate. Let me preface it by saying, I take that down for the ladies. You're tempting them. I've taught a ton of RCIA classes. I think it's called OCIA now. I've taught, I think, 20 or 30 different topics over the years, and many of those topics many times more than once. So I feel qualified, I think, to do something like that. But I worry, honestly, about it devolving because anti-Catholic sentiment sometimes reaches irrational, disproportionate levels. And I would worry about that. What I would do is, if you truly are interested in Catholicism, NIP OPTN, and your name, if you're truly interested in it, I would start with reading some Scott Hahn books, like Rome Sweet Home. Would be an excellent book, Rome Sweet Home by Scott Hahn. That's not a bad book for Catholics to just have 10 copies of lying around because you'll run across people and you can hand them the book. It's fantastic. And then maybe after that, look into a Navarre study Bible on a few books of the Bible and kind of read through that and get an idea for the flavor of Catholic theology. You know, just if you're like, depends on which way you want to go. You know, Scott Hahn is a great theologian, but he's very accessible. Some Catholic Bible studies are very dense, very, very dense. Trying to think if there's another one over there I'd recommend to a beginner. Probably not to a beginner. Probably not going to do Hans Urs von Balthasar for a beginner or Paul Tillich. But, you know, hey, Trunk Guy clicked something. I don't want to say yes, but I think Blake might be onto something there. I think Blake Bednarz is all over the Trunk Guy, and I think he might be onto something. There would have to be several signals at once. And CMW's picks, do the arms in number 8 look similar to Charlie Kirk's? I'll have to go back and look. I can't do that right now. I'm trying to mosey through these. I'm going to have to start sorting by higher numbers here because we're at 352 supers. Wow, this proves so many TP were involved. No, it doesn't prove. It raises the issue that needs to be investigated and needs to be looked into. I think that the fried hands are enough that we need to start looking into it and see. You do awesome work. Way to go, Baron. Yes, electrocution can cause entrance and exit wounds, which are burns where the current enters and leaves the body, but these wounds aren't always obvious and can vary in size. Tell your wife and kids thank you. Absolutely. 100% will. Let me keep rolling here. Thank you for the super. That was very nice of you. Maddie B and J. If the necklace is in question and the last person that had it before Charlie was Erica, would that not implicate her to some extent? Necklace is in question to some extent, and the last person that had it before Charlie theoretically was Erica. Not theoretically, that's what she said. She said the last person that had it was her. That's what she said. I heard a voice on October 21. I heard a voice in the back of my head. It's not a bullet you're looking for. You're looking for a kid genius engineer. We should be watching the vids through the lens of Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison play. What? You're bringing up 18 to 88? What? Oh, man, the greatest duo of all time? I just want to say I love my husband, Aaron. I want to say, okay, Aaron, she loves you. We both enjoy watching you. God bless you and your wife from both of us. Well, thank you, Colleen, and thank you, Aaron, for sharing, Colleen, and your time with this program. Crowned with tinfoil. I just watched a loop video for the first time of Charlie. When he places the other hand on the mic, you can almost see the wave of electricity run up his body. Hospital and declining EMS was critical for them to keep the narrative. The monologue was... Guys, I'm telling you, I didn't want to show the video, and I'm starting to wonder if that's why they're taking such great pains to keep the video off of YouTube. I'm starting to wonder. Remember 1/1/2025, Trump Hotel in Vegas when the Cybertruck caught fire. Guy was also a member of the 10th Special Forces Group based in Colorado. I did not know that. FBI would not release his military record or his manifesto for national security reasons. Interesting. I didn't know he was part of the 10th Special Forces Group. Wow. If heart exploded, blood would have been all over the shirt. I'm a cardiothoracic vascular OR nurse. Shock is survivable. AED false flag plan went wrong. Interesting. So you're suggesting that it was faked, it was intended to be faked, and that it got out of control and he died. That's interesting. I don't think we're saying his heart exploded. I think we're saying a vessel exploded in his neck. That's what they're saying. I'm not saying that. I don't know. Flipping through here. Thank you for another night of great content. I have a large family and Notes Team Sacrifice from the whole family sharing you with all of us. Thank you to Mama and Baby Colemans. Yes, the Baby Colemans. Not so baby anymore. The youngest is 5. When a necklace breaks during electrocution, the neck is very frequently the exit site. Wow. Forensic pathologists specifically look for jewelry on the neck as strong evidence that the neck wound is an electrical exit wound. That's from Grok? Miss F. What? That's a great A-buck there. Thank you. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Let me refresh. Reports are Charlie's parents were not fans of Erica and warned him about marrying her. Any info on this? Have Charlie's parents been interviewed at all on their feelings? I don't know that they. I haven't seen an interview with them. I was told they're very private. That's it. Why would the Fed say it was a 30-06 instead of a 22 or something more believable? You've got to take the patsies as they come. I don't remember. Someone else made that. I'm kind of stealing this, but I don't remember. I would give credit. I don't remember who said it. I want to say it was. Who would it be? I don't remember who said it. It was a podcast in the last week. That's all I can say. And it was someone on our side of this issue. But they were asked why would they use the 30-06, and he was saying, look, they had to find a patsy. The operation was going down, and the patsy shows up with the 30-06, and that's what you're going with. Like, You can't control everything, you know? It's not like they go to patsy school. Guy probably didn't know he was a patsy until after the fact. Let's see here. Was it announced she was the only witness allowed in court? I don't know if that's true. Yes, I'm skipping some of these guys because we've been going 3 hours and there are 363 supers. And I just can't get to all of them. So I'm looking for ones that aren't repetitive. If we all start putting hats on with electric bolts, we know people should post. Ooh, I like this idea. Force the issue. TPUSA declined to have an EMT on campus. Because of that, no formal first aid station or scheduled EMS for personnel on site for gathering. According to ChatGPT, there were 2 there, though. I'm not sure if they were scheduled or what, but they were there. Dino Sassy Pants. The microphone in the glass case gives me golden pager in the oval vibes. I was going to say that, but it sounded kind of like I was calling them satanic. But have you ever noticed some of these people just have to admit what they've done? Like they can't not admit what they've done. And I'm not, again, this is all opinion. I'm just raising this issue because his hands looked all fried. And I was thinking, why are his hands all fried? And then I start looking at the microphone, and then I start looking at the reaction, and then you have surgeons saying, that ain't a neck wound, buddy. That is not a neck injury. You would not do that with a neck injury. You would have thrown the microphone down and gone limp. Something else is happening. Yep, it was a bonus. Thank you. It absolutely was a bonus. Owen Hornbaker. From the future, from the year 2159. What do you have for us from the future, Owen? And now, if you add in Terrell's subtle nod in Dan's direction just before Dan steps forward to make the arm signal, this was all set for the shock from the soundboard. Let me do some professional looking here to see if I see what you see. I will keep looking while I do that. All right. The reason I don't want to play it, we're 3 hours in. I don't want to accidentally, 2.5 hours in. I don't want to accidentally show it, but I'm right 5 seconds away, 3 seconds away, 2 seconds away from the arm signal. Does he give a subtle nod to Dan? I don't see it. I didn't see it. Thank you. Let's see. Not sure if it was mentioned. He was on maybe he was on an elevated makeshift platform to avoid being grounded. This would allow a controlled execution. Yeah, I got to look into the platform. I don't know if you do or don't need to be grounded. Just Google this. Just got this. You got this. Google PubMed cardioid rupture following electrical injury. The guy was wearing a necklace which caused a 1 centimeter laceration in the cardioid artery. Wow. Let me look that up because when I get attacked tomorrow, I'm going to need that. I anticipate it's coming if it hadn't already started on X. Let's see here. Guys, you are overly generous. I'm trying to... Let's see this one. I saw a victim of electric shock. The electricity went in at his arm, came out at his forehead. Charlie Kirk hit with high V in his hand. Cloud could have went through his blood, out his artery, causing the extra wound. Wow. Interesting. Do you have Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal? YouTube takes 30%. I'd rather pay you directly. I heard it might be a violation. But if you looked up my name on Venmo with a dash in between the first and last name with one R, Baron-Coleman, you would find a handsome guy that looks like this. I think that's the hat I have on in that picture. Baron-Coleman on Venmo. PayPal blocked me years ago. Let's see here. This theory also explains the lack of blood behind the table, the need for crazy old man to stand up and claim he was the shooter, to sell there was even a shot, and the inexplicable need to move a patient with an arterial wound. Wow, these are all great points, Chantel. That actually is really good. The lack of blood behind the table, because obviously there was no exit wound, because that was an exit wound. That would be, okay, so this is in theory, allegations, opinion. The need for the crazy old man to stand up and claim he was the shooter. Yeah, it allows the team to get safely out of there. It allows all the other team to get to exfiltrate, sure, and to clean up a little bit because now the police are occupied. They're not sealing off the scene. Interesting. And the inexplicable need to move a patient with an arterial wound. Yeah, that's great. Well, if they didn't know that the electricity was going to produce a violent rupture of his neck, they might not have been expecting an arterial wound. They might have gotten. That might have been why Rick Cutler showed up laughing. Like, what the hell did you guys do? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You Rick Cutler, anti-Rick Cutler people. There's all these photos pointing around. And he's like smiling in there. He might be like, "What did you do? Why is he bleeding like this?" Talk about flipping the script. Didn't expect to believe the microphone being a weapon, but you convinced me. This theory does explain so much. It certainly made a good case to me. Certainly made a good case to me. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure it's 100% accurate. I'm not sure there wasn't additional stuff. I'm not sure this didn't play a minor role, but I am sure that this is my opinion that this would make an interesting theory. Edge, totally missed the live. Totally missed this is live. No notification. That's unfortunate. Seems we are considering burns. Might the mystery black strap around his trunk with what appear to be burns or red mark be part of the story? Sorry if I missed the coverage. You're going to need to go back and watch this from the beginning. If you showed up late and you're just watching the Supers, you're lost. Go watch it from the beginning, from the opening statement. It's good. If I do say so myself. Mike should still be in evidence, part of the crime scene. A lot, so should the SD cards. SD cards should not have been carted out of there where they could be photoshopped before any. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said it. This passes the vibe check. Now let's see the clapback. Appreciate you and your amazing chat. The chat's amazing, aren't they? We're at 375 super chats and over, what, like 10,000 live chats. You guys are amazing. I mean, amazing. Need your email. AI says current can come out of the neck with a necklace. Yeah, it's right here. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. So you got it. Thank you for all you do. Take the kiddos and wife out since everyone sacrificed the day for you to be here for us. I will do that. They deserve it. They deserve it. No doubt about it. Let's see. EK's jewelry always set me off along with Charlie Kirk's necklace. I'm a goldsmith, and she seems to me to have a favorite custom jeweler. Not hard for a pro to embed one necklace and make a clean dupe. Wow. I hadn't considered the clean dupe philosophy. That's interesting. So you're saying she would have shown up with the dupe and she would have frantically tried to find the fake. That's interesting. Jeweling the machine. That makes sense. Wow. The tent poles were on plastic stools. Always thought that was weird. It may have been to protect against ground currents. Yeah. So that's interesting. If there was a ground current, they were on plastic stools. I'm looking at it right now. That is very interesting. I've never seen that before. My goodness, that's a great comment, man, to be. Because I worked a case. Oh, I was telling you about it earlier. The kid that got electrocuted. The electrical source was on the other side of the yard. Someone had tied up the fence with alligator clips to an electrical source and electrified the whole fence, and no one knew it. So if someone was accidentally that wasn't in on it or just accidentally leaning against the tent, could have been curtains for certains for them because the tent would have also been grounded. That's interesting. Doesn't matter if the electrocution caused the exit wound blood. The team had no way of knowing where the wound would happen. Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Stay secure. Good content. Go Max. Thank you. Why two mics, one on shirt and one in hand? They go to different places. The one on the mic goes to the cameras. and will be used to create short video content or even long form video content to upload to social media and YouTube and other channels. So that's going to be captured by the mic on his shirt. The one in his hand is going out over the PA. You don't want to capture PA audio for YouTube. That is not going to sound very good. So yeah. Okay, Alice, if we are going to do this, to add to your theory, electricity always exits the body after electrocution. The neck would be the electricity exiting his body. It always finds the path of least resistance. Yeah, and the necklace really does make a lot of sense, frankly. I was not aware of that. I'm going to have to look that up. Saw vid Didi got a pod where 4 helped CK, not 3. Your thoughts? I don't know what you're talking about. 4 versus 3 what? Where 4 what helped Charlie Kirk, not 3 what? Thank you for your donation. It was very generous. Michelle Bells, Canuck Bucks. This explains the question that requires Charlie to give a longer answer than yes or no. Take time to carry out the deed. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, you'll notice the signal goes off as soon as he gets a couple words out and the signal goes off, and the shot is less than a half a second later. Or the loud bang, we'll call it now. Autopsy would tell all. Only if an honest doctor did the autopsy. Otherwise, the autopsy is not going to say anything. Hey, Baron, your laugh makes me laugh. Is it possible the gunshot was from the sound man? I don't think so. I don't know. I've not explored that, but I don't think so. Love your show, Baron. Always look forward to your show. Learned of you through another legend, Ian Carroll. You're both amazing. Ian's great. Ian's fantastic. Ian has released another Dynamite video today, of all days. His feud with Nick Fuentes is really lending me a lot of respect for Ian's callback, his ability to put together thoughts and just eviscerate another argument. I mean, he's really talented. Really, really talented. He's a smart guy. $50, I was thinking of emailing you. But ahoy, you're live tonight. Thank you. Today I had a random thought that the way Charlie held onto the mic could point to a high voltage shock, and holy mackerel. I tune in and you're talking about the possibility. Heads together, great minds think alike. Excellent, excellent thought. Thank you. Had to go to Son's YouTube account to chat. You're censored here in Ireland and UK. I am? I don't think I am because if I am, it's recent. Only wanted to point out Kneeling Sound Guy is exactly where One Trapdoor is located. Interesting. Access to college water features. That's interesting. I get a lot of viewers in the UK. You know, you can go and look at your, I don't want to pull them up, but you can go look at your stats by country, by state. You would never guess what my top 2 states are. Not what you would think. Charlie tensed his lips as if bracing for what to come just before it happened. I've heard that argument that he might have been in on it, but I don't know. Sorry, that was you. If he was indeed shocked, that could explain the necklace. Oh, I hadn't pulled that one up. If he was indeed shocked, that could explain the necklace and ring exiting the scene since they're so conductive. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it. Could Erica be compromised? That's why she shows his hands in the video. Yep, that's and also keep. Yeah, we talked about that. Who is the man in black that goes over to talk to Tyler F? Dan looks towards him also right before he made the hand signal. The man in black that goes over to talk to Tyler Farnsworth. I think he is a. Is it Tyler Farnsworth? I think it's Terrell Farnsworth. I think he's another cameraman. I'm not sure. I think your theory makes total sense, and they have that ground power trapdoor in that area, plus others have died via microphone deaths. Pic of Charlie's arm while he was carried away. Notice red area in axilla. There's a fish song called Axilla. I know that, if you guys like fish. Did I just give myself away as a little closet hippie? Where is the axilla on the body? The axilla is up. No, that's not helpful. It looks like the arm. Are you saying armpit? Is that the fancy name for armpit? You hit me with axilla instead of armpit? Guys, can I let you know a little secret? Southern girl. We say armpit on this show. We don't say axilla. I'm sure there's a cool name for mouth. We say mouth. There might be some weird name for this first. This is your first finger. And I don't know what they call this in medical literature. It's your pinky. We pinky swear here. We don't It's your armpit. Okay, sorry, let me read it again. Initially thought red tattoo, but now wonder if burn often associated with burns traversing from hand into body. Nurse almost 20 years. Notice red area in axilla. I thought that was a blood stain. Is it not? I'm interested in this, ladies and gentlemen, so you got to bear with me for just a second. And I will show it. Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. This isn't too gruesome. I'll blow this up and you guys can see it. That looks like blood, but you're right. That's not an area where blood would be because there's no blood around the shirt right there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we might have a winner here. This is why we need nurses of 20 years. Oh, where'd he go? There you are, Charlie. That's what she's talking about right there. That apparently is called the axilla. The axilla, known in Middle Tennessee as the armpit. The armpit. The axilla. So that's a common feature you're saying in burns when they're traversing the body. Look at that hand. After everything we've talked about, guys, is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? That hand looks like he burned it in the oven, like grease splattered all over it. And I want to know what those two dots are. That looks like a taser wound or something. I don't know what that is. Guys, it's something weird going on. This is so much deeper and darker than we all thought. So much deeper and darker. With electrocution, there can be compartment syndrome, which causes the neck and tissues to swell up. This theory is worth exploring. But compartment syndrome now I'm going to drop a little medical knowledge on you, only because I used to work at a medical malpractice defense firm, and I worked on a medical malpractice case that involved compartment syndrome. I thought compartment syndrome required time, far longer than 20 or 30 seconds. And it may, long enough to form necrotic tissue. Or are you talking about the muscular tissue expands into the fascia or whatever? I don't know. Guys, maybe a couple more. Don't forget to thank Allie Barron. Allie, I said it early, and a ton of this research came from Allie Files. So I did not know if you wanted your name public. So I am not at all forgetting to credit you. You were a tremendous help in this, an absolutely tremendous help. But not everybody wants their name public, and you and I had not talked about that necessarily. I think I actually did credit you last show or 2 shows ago on a picture you sent me, and I accidentally said another name for you, and that might have been a work name or something. So if you don't follow Allie Files, let me see. I think she's on X at Allie Files, right? I'll pull this up. Her stuff is fantastic, and I would absolutely 100% not have gotten here without her. You're on here, right? Yeah, there you are. Allie Top Files. This is it. So I'm going to pull this up. You guys need to go follow this girl. She's great. She's a more frequent emailer than she is an X poster, from what I can tell here, because I see you haven't put up a post in like 2 weeks. I will share this because I would not have gotten here without her. This is fantastic. But not everybody wants to be known behind the scenes that they're working on stuff. Yeah, she's fantastic. A fantastic researcher. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that quite a bit, Allie. Baron, check Charlie's left hand on the casket. Zoom in on it. Search videos and photos from prior events, even that day. 2 small marks on the left arm were not there. We love you, bro. Yeah, we talked about that. We absolutely 100% talked about that. This is big, guys. This is big. There are wounds on the left hand in the casket. Yes, this is big. And I think it changes the nature of this. To me, it changes the nature of this investigation. Thank you, Ash. Can I get a picture of Charles McClintock Wilson without the wording? Probably. I'll ask him about it. All right, I think that's... I'm sure, I know I've skipped some, guys. There are 400 super chats. There are 400 super chats. Interview the day after, guy said camera equipment should be confiscated. Absolutely should have been. Thank you, wife and children. Thank you. I'm going to write Barron Family a song to the tune of Adam's Family. The Barron Family. Doo-doo-doo-doo. I gotta go. It's almost been 3 hours, and my wife is in the other room, and my kids need to go to bed. And so do I, because I'm old. So I wake up a couple times in the night because that's what old people do. I can't keep going. Hey, guys, it's been fun. Don't forget to like the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, click notifications, share with your friends. Feel free to promote it on all social media outlets where your heart so desires. It has been a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow or I'll wait till Sunday, but either way, I'll see you soon.